Ready?
Hey! Let's go! Back! I'm at my prime. I don't need your endorsement. I don't need reinforcement. Giving you your last warning, 'cause I'm at my prime. Yeah. I'm at my prime. Whoa.
This is week 9 of the inaugural season of the European Football Alliance. We are right outside the beautiful city of Munich at the Sportpark Unterhaching, where the stadium of the still unbeaten Munich Ravens is located, and they're hosting the Frankfurt Galaxy today, a team that has 3 victories and 3 losses in their 6 games so far. Calling this game for you, my name is Jörg Opopopek, and with me is our color commentator for today's matchup, Mr. Jan Weinreich. Jan, does this matchup has any trap game implications for you?
100%. I truly believe so. The Munich Ravens just come off their biggest win of the season, playing against the Nordic Storm, taking the lead. Getting a bit lucky there though, but crunching out that tight game. And then you have the Frankfurt Galaxy, who just come back from the road, where they beat the Paris Musketeers in dominant fashion. The offense kept rolling. This is the type of game where I believe the Frankfurt Galaxy are going to come in, be very physical, be a bit nasty as well. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to be nasty. They're going to make it so tough, knowing that they're the underdog, knowing that they got to go on the road again, which then if they drag the Munich Ravens down today into a tight game, I think it might be a trap here. On the other side, for the Munich Ravens, I think this is a true character game. What is this team built of? Are they ready to come in every week, compete on the highest level, knowing they're in the playoffs, knowing they're the favorite? Do they care about this? This is what I want to see, or what we can find out today. If they even care for this favorite role, or if they only care about dominating their opponent.
So what you are expecting is the Frankfurt Galaxy defense, as we have known it in the last couple of years, aggressive, hard-playing defensive football from the guys from Frankfurt.
Yes, and that's exactly what they need, especially in the trenches. The last game, I truly believe they lost it in many ways, but one of the ways where they've just been dominated, and they can't be dominated again, is inside the trenches. The Munich Ravens are very physical there, very well running the ball. The Frankfurt Galaxy are not typically built to defend the hard, heavy run game inside the middle. They're a bit lighter with the outside linebackers, like a bit skinnier defensive linemen that twist around and move around a lot. So if you're not big enough, and maybe you're not strong enough, you really got to get in there 100% with your effort, and even be a bit nasty. Make it as tough as you can for the Munich Ravens to run the ball today.
It is about 82, 83 degrees Fahrenheit in Munich. The heat is back in Germany this summer. And here is the Frankfurt Galaxy hitting the turf, hitting the stadium. The Frankfurt Galaxy that, as you mentioned, they're coming out of this victory against the Paris Musketeers. And the Paris Musketeers, they lost yesterday in the first overtime battle of the EFA against the Prague Lions. What a thriller we saw there yesterday. And today we're hoping to see the same thing.
Yes, and one thing about the game yesterday, the implications on this league just means from the placement of place 3, where the Frankfurt Galaxy is sitting in right now, and the Prague Lions place 5, everything is open now. So place 3 and 4 are going to the playoffs, place number 5 is out of the playoffs. And what the Prague Lions just did yesterday is make this entire league open, and we're going into the crunch time of the EFA, because there's only going to be 1 bye week for every team now. but for the rest of the weeks, every team is going to play, every team needs to perform, and now we have a very, very tight contention for that fourth and also for that third playoff spot. And knowing that for the Frankfurt Galaxy today is the perfect opportunity to get that upset, to get that extra win, and be a bit more relaxed for the upcoming weeks to secure a playoff spot.
And we just saw it already. The cheerleaders already entered the pitch, and the team of the Munich Ravens, 6-0 is their record. They're about to enter the stadium, led by their mascot. And here they're coming. The Munich Ravens, the only unbeaten team in the European Football Alliance. And Jan, you already mentioned the strength of the Munich Ravens offense, which is that they're playing complementary football. They have a really strong running game. They have a really strong passing game. They have a strong passing game if they include their running backs into it. Speaking of Justus Selig, who's a huge talent. But their guests today are the Frankfurt Galaxy, and they're having the only quarterback in the EFA that has not thrown an interception so far. Ethan Garbers is impressing so far in his first season with the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yes, but today might be one of the toughest challenges for him if they want to win this game, because they really need him dialed in as he was the last week. I think Ethan Garbers really is in sync now with the offense, with his receivers, also with the protection. I think you mentioned it on your show, how well he is in reading blitzes, moving the pocket. And I think what Europe learns now is that Ethan Garbers might look like a pocket passer at first because he's very good from the pocket. But I think his biggest strength is that he is very lethal with his legs and very controlled with his legs when he scrambles, buying extra time, looking downfield. What he mentioned today, if you want to beat the Munich Ravens, I believe you got to go in and you got to believe or aim for 35 points, at definitely plus 30 points, because the Munich Ravens on offense right now are good in anything. They're a lot of athletic wide receivers, different types of wide receivers. And there's the American wide receiver, Stanley. Then we have the Europeans, Gaia and Rocho, completely different from what their skill set brings in there. They have Okonkwo, they have Selig in the backfield, they have Rodney in the backfield. Selig is like more of a shifty guy with some burst at the end. Rodney is a clear one-cut and big play, breakaway running back. And then, of course, Russell Tabor also doing for QB. Everything paired with a great offensive line. It's just so tough to stop an offense that is built as well as the Munich Ravens. So the way to beat them, I believe, is just you got to score a lot of points. You know, at the end of the day, if you score 35 points, the chances of you winning a game is much higher.
Most definitely. We just saw the two head coaches, Kendall Ellison on the side of the Munich Ravens, and in this bright, shiny lime green shirt that is absolutely his signature shirt, head coach of the Frankfurt Galaxy, Mr. Thomas Kösel.
Yes, and for him, he did it again, kind of, you know, like you talked about it, or we talked about it, that they always start a bit sloppy, but Kösel is very good in turning this team around.
Defensive-minded head coach on the side of the Frankfurt Galaxy and on the side of the Munich Ravens, because Kendall Ellison is a defensive-minded head coach as well. Only one anthem is going to be sung today. which shortens up the procedures before the coin toss because it's a German derby. The Frankfurt Galaxy are visiting the Munich Ravens. Whitehead of this matchup is Peter Parsons, and he's going to ask the team captains to join him in the middle of the field for the coin toss. Here we see the quarterback of the Frankfurt Galaxy, Ethan Garber, so far 117 completions out of 180 attempts, 1,429 yards and 11 touchdowns he delivered through the air. And he was adding 71 rushes for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. And he has 1 touchdown reception when the Frankfurt Galaxy played their version of the Philly special in the beginning of the season.
It's the second player. Very interesting case today. Mulumba, the top edge rusher from Frankfurt Galaxy, one of the players they really need today, and one of the guys who really needs to step up. Easy to say, if you pressure the QB, offensive performance, especially in the passing game, is going to get really, really tough no matter what league, if it's NFL, EFA, Canadian Football League, whatever. But today is even more special. You know, they're the clear underdog. I said it on defense. It's very tough to be physical around all 4 quarters. It's very tough to defend all of the weapons Russell Tabor has. So they need an individual effort from more of their star players, just like Mulumba, to take over the game today and pressure quarterback Russell Tabor.
Talking about Russell Tabor, he comes in U.S. quarterback of 87 completions out of 129 attempts, 4 interceptions, 1,195 yards, and 12 TDs. And what he is actually is a dual threat quarterback. He has been adding 42 rushes for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns. And now we're listening to the coin toss.
Joining us at the coin toss today as our special guest is United States Consul General Dr. James Miller. Dr. Miller will be conducting the coin toss. This is the coin we will use. It's heads and tails. Frankfurt, you're the visiting team. What is your call? Frankfurt have called tails. Dr. Miller, will you please toss the coin? And it's a head. Munich, you've won the toss. You're going to take the ball. Frankfurt, you're going to be kicking. Do you want to kick the way you're facing? You do. Munich will receive in the first half. Best of luck to both teams.
So the Munich Ravens will have the opening drive of this matchup. Frankfurt won the coin toss. Third to the second half as we see the Munich Ravens roster here. One thing definitely nice that we saw that there was a prominent person doing the coin toss that actually tossed the coin. Yeah, we saw it so many times that this coin was like flying in the air and maybe flipped once or twice, but that was a real coin toss. So it's all set up. Frankfurt will do the kickoff, and they have to take care, because if we're thinking back to the first matchup of those two teams in week 3, Bijan Harris started that one with a coast-to-coast kickoff return touchdown. So the Frankfurt Galaxy special teams unit has to be highly alert, because Bijan Harris is definitely the most dangerous kickoff returner in the league.
And just in those short 10 minutes, talking about all the strength the Munich Ravens have. And then they even have one of the most electrifying returners in all of the EFA, the most electrifying returner, and a great defensive back who always gets his hands on the ball. So there's a reason why they're the top team in this league, and why they're unbeaten, and why they're the team to beat, and why this, if the Frankfurt Galaxy win, will be such a big upset and a trap game for them.
12th of July, the kickoff is on the way.
He's returning it.
But good kickoff coverage by the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, and not to overcomplicate everything, but that's how we want to go. They return the ball, they fake the ball to Harris, you're right there, you're physical, you make a big hit. And as I said, this is what we need to see today from the Frankfurt Galaxy. They try to trick you a little bit, but you're right there, you make the big hit, you're the more physical person. You play through the echo of the whistle and make it as tough as possible for the Munich Ravens today.
The first drive of the Munich Ravens, Russell Tabor from the shotgun. Next to him, Justin Rodney. And he's going deep right away. Incomplete pass. Trying to find Luis Geier, the standout German wide receiver of the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, and the Munich Ravens coming out here straight away in the shotgun, sending 4 wide receivers out, throwing a deep pass to Luis Geier, who has a chance here. Just great coverage here by Chambers, who gets in there, doesn't touch Lewis, doesn't push him in any way. Very interesting to see the Frankfurt Galaxy again coming out only with a 3-man rush, one of their specialties when the opposing offense comes out in the spread formation.
So 2nd and 10. Ravens are shifting. Quick hit pass to the outside. Short completion, but safe tackle by Rabi Jr.
Yeah, easy pitch and catch right there from the Munich Ravens. It's just a numbers game. Russell Tabor can hand the ball over there, then throws it to Marvin Rutsch, who gets behind his blockers. If you saw Luis Geier on that play, he just blocked 2 players, pin kicked one of them, and then went down to the second guy, making it a 35.
Tight end Philip Okonkwo for the Ravens. On the left side of the offense. Quick pass to the outside, caught. And there we have the first time, Justus Selig, number 5.
Yeah, and Justus Selig, probably the best receiving back in the EFA, goes out there, runs a real route. So on the left, we just had a stop route by the right receiver, creating some space. Linebacker has to get behind him, doesn't have a straight way to cover Justus Selig, who then, in stride, catches a pretty challenging ball, but gets the easy first down.
1st and 10, empty backfield for the Ravens. Justus Selig is switching out, gets the ball on the quick hitch, and that's another first down for the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, those are the easy pitches and catches you have in your game plan for your first 10 plays. They motion Justus out to the 3 receiver side, creating an overload right there. The Frankfurt Galaxy don't match it. They don't even really get to the point of attack pretty quick, so Justus Selig just needs to read one of the plays and gets the first down. Runs the block.
And as you mentioned before, the Ravens wide receivers, especially Luis Geier, Marvin Rutsch, are excellent blockers. So that's why this quick pass to Justus Selig paid out so positively. Another first down for the Munich Ravens. Run game. And that's another gain of about 9 yards.
Yeah, pretty interesting. That's the first run we've seen in the first couple of plays. Again, motion before the snap. This time you can see it's just a straight handoff, so no read, no play action, no RPO or whatever. Just straight ball, as we love it, in the trenches for a gain of 9 yards. And I said it before, if the Frankfurt Galaxy are got to get more physical in the trenches to stop that run.
2nd and 2, something like a waist down. They can do whatever they want to. Quick pass to the outside. Finds Marvin Rutsch.
Munich came out empty formation. Basically just 2 things you can do here as a defense. You can go out and play straight man with everybody, and then you allow yourself to rush the QB a bit more. That's what they did, send a blitzer. Or you go out and you play a 4-man rush with zone coverage. They decide to send 5, but Russell Tabor reading the defense perfectly taking the quick outlet to Marvin Rutsch. Also makes a somewhat challenging catch for the safe first down.
Impressive opening drive so far for the Munich Ravens. Rutsch is shifting out, but this will be a false start against the Ravens.
False start, offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Peter Parsons, the white hat of this matchup, with the first penalty call. Russell Tabor from the gun. Pass. Screen to the outside. Finds Justus Selig. And he makes a couple yards. Easily a new first down.
And the Munich Ravens somewhat luckily catch the Frankfurt Galaxy in the blitz to the left side. The Galaxy sent Junior over the right, number 27. The blitz slips through right there. Justus catches one of the blocks, makes another guy miss. Perfect play call. Good tackling though by Chambers, or good effort by Chambers, like tripping Justus, and then good effort by the rest of the defense getting him down. But it was just a almost perfect call against what the Frankfurt Galaxy were sending on defense.
2nd and 4, the Ravens go empty. 3 wide outs on the right side of the offense. Tabor scanning the field, pass to the outside, that's complete. Another first down. The impressive opening drive of the Munich Ravens is still running.
Yeah, lots of empty formation here in the opening drive by the Munich Ravens, creating clear looks. Frankfurt Galaxy not able to match the coverage. Ball usually finds itself in the flat, in the safe dink and dunk plays, where then a receiver is lined up against a linebacker or a safety, makes a man miss. Another first down for now 5-minute drive with only one incompletion.
Next quick hit to the outside. And again, it was Marvin Rutsch.
Yeah, the Munich Ravens are just showcasing here perfectly how he can unbalance the defense, how he can always by formation create mismatches. This time, they occupy one of the linebackers who's in between the receivers and the offensive linemen with the counter, or I believe maybe power play inside. Linebacker moves in a little bit. They create a mismatch on the outside. They have 3 receivers on 2 defenders who are in the area of making the tackle. And as I said, it's just perfectly planned out, mismatching the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Ravens are in the end zone from the 8-yard line of the Frankfurt Galaxy, pass to the outside. And there's the first touch, no touchdown. He did not manage to get inside. Luis Gaia, the wide receiver, with the catch.
I need to see that again. I think he was in. I mean, let's look at the replay. Here again, empty formation. They throw the ball to the flat, to the right side, as they did again. And let's see if the tip is in there. I believe
he did not touch the pylon, definitely.
Yeah, he did not touch the pylon. I think like a centimeter. Ooh. I mean, in honor of great coach Andrew Weininger, who also calls games for the EFA, I gotta critique a bit the referees right there. I think that's a bad spot. I think he reached that out at least to the 1-yard line.
Maybe what we did not see in the slow motion, that he touched the outside boundary. That's a run up the middle, up to the 1-yard line. Justus Selig, the ball carrier.
Yeah, and I wonder why they didn't go heavy formation here. I think that's one of the big strengths of the Munich Ravens offense, that they can just sub players in and out, and that they're so deep on a lot of positions like tight end and running back, and then they just can maul the opposing defense. I think they went heavy now. Again though, easier to be said from my seat. No, we see it now. Heavy formation, 2 running backs in the back. They're just gonna run the ball over the right side now, over the strong side, get the thing in.
Play action fake, pass into the end zone, trying to hit number 3, Malik Stanley. Malik, the freak, as they call him in Munich.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer of not throwing the ball at the 1 yard line. I think statistically it just doesn't make as much sense of just taking the chance of running the ball twice or calling quarterback sneak twice. I think you make it way harder on yourself as you need to, wondering what the flag is going to be. Give me a second.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 97. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Well, half a distance to the goal from the 1 yard line does not have such big implications, but it's a fresh set of downs that will help the Ravens, most definitely.
Yeah, I couldn't see it until then, but I don't think he was that late. Maybe he was throwing the QB in the ground, which would be illegal, but yeah, as I comment again, I'm a firm believer of running the ball at the 1, not throwing it. I think you make it way harder on yourself, and there's just way more errors that can happen when you throw the ball at the 1 instead of just running it like they do here for the touchdown. You kind of see what I mean. I think way better chance of just using your physicality, getting used to Zelig the ball, who reads it perfectly for the new score of 6-0.
So the Munich Ravens are finishing an impressive over 7.5 minutes drive with the first touchdown of this matchup. Justus Zelig, the running back with the number 5, gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Munich Ravens.
Yeah, what an impressive drive. I mean, took half a quarter, literally 7 minutes and 32 seconds to just walk down the field, spreading the ball around to Stanley, to Gaia, to Rutsch, to Zelig, and then just finishing it with a strong one through the middle for the new score of 7-0. So, I mean, Opu, I always say it on our show around the EFA, I won't bet against the Munich Ravens until they lose, because this is what makes them special. Every game, every week, they just come out and overroll the opposing defense early.
But as we see the touchdown run by Justus Zelig again, if you want to put it in positive ways for the Frankfurt Galaxy, last time they faced the Munich Ravens, it went much faster with the first score against them, because Bijan Harris had this opening kickoff return for a touchdown. This time it took 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, and, I mean, from the get-go, pressures on the Frankfurt Galaxy offense straight away. As I said it, if you want to beat the Ravens today, you can't expect to only go out and have a decent game of like 21 points, 24 points. I believe your mindset needs to be to score 30 plus. So I believe you should go out there and already think about going for it on 4th down way earlier in the middle of the field, taking aggressive shots, control the offense, control the pace. You know, don't wait for the game to then be away late in the 3rd or 4th quarter and then take your shots. You need to take your big shots today. You need to create big plays today. So better do it early. Better create big plays early. Better create momentum early, so you have a chance later in the 3rd and 4th quarter to have a tight game to make it nasty for the Munich Ravens.
Well, to put it in short terms, you always say you have to minimize your mistakes. Just minimizing your mistakes won't be enough for the Frankfurt Galaxy today. They have to do a little more.
Well said, Opu. I think that's a great way of putting it. If you just play football with little mistakes, you won't beat the Ravens. You got to play great football. You got to play better than your usual. Everybody needs to bring the A game. You got to have a perfect game plan. And again, you got to surprise the Munich Ravens defense.
We saw it on the sideline. Team zone of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Ryan Rimler, the kicker of the Galaxy, already warming up. Fans in the stands, they don't have to warm up. As I said, it's about 82, 83 degrees in Munich. Galaxy is coming out right away. Empty formation, 4 whiteouts to the left of Ethan Garbers. And Garbers hits it himself and gets a new first down right away.
Yeah, very nice play design, playing to the strength of Ethan Garbers. To the left, we had a think, somewhat of a stick combination where he could have had an easy layout and just throw the ball and then just took it himself. And they go no huddle, so they go in fast pace right here. As I said, trying to surprise the Munich Ravens defense, knowing that they can get them in the looks they want them. It's very hard to change plays to get exotic blitzes in, putting the stress straight away on the defense of the Ravens. Oh, they go fast.
No huddle. Galaxy is pushing the paddle, and that's the first incompletion. Ethan Garber's trying to find Norman Schum, who is one of the starting wideouts today, joined by tight end Adria Botella Moreno, the Spanish tight end, Paul Cavadia-Lenhart, and the most favorite target of Ethan Garber's, Brevin Easton, number 81.
Who's in the backfield right now, aligned to the right of Easton. Then set in motion.
Little miscommunication here again with Norman Schum.
Yeah, they want a flag right there. They were asking for a flag. I didn't exactly see the spot where Schum was running to, or if they just collided with the defensive back and couldn't just avoid him. But we have a 4th and 7, and I believe the Frankfurt Galaxy are going for it. Which is risky, but as I said again, if you want to beat the Ravens today, you just can't let them go back on offense, taking the lead of 14-0.
Fourth down, Galaxy is playing it, but there's a flag. There was an offside by the right defensive end of the Munich Ravens.
False start, offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
Ethan Garbers discussing with Whitehead Peter Parsons. And this penalty was not against the Ravens, it was against the Frankfurt Galaxy, so it's 4th and 12. It's not. The inserts are not perfect. It's 4th and 2. Galaxy stays out with their offense, or is Ethan Garbers doing the punt? Nope, they tried to force the Ravens defense into an offside. That didn't really work. So timeout taken.
Yeah, first of all, I don't really particularly agree with the call on the false start. I believe that the defense end was offside, moving. Maybe there was movement I didn't see before.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
So Frankfurt Galaxy get a bit unlucky there with the call. Again, I guess, same with the roughing the passer call. Forcing then the delay of game, which I think is the right call. You don't take the timeout here. You want to be in control of the clock for the late second quarter to then be able to stop the clock, score, get the ball back after halftime, and punt the ball here.
So the opening drive of the Galaxy has come to an end. They're punting the ball. Not a really wonderful and beautiful punt by Robert.
Yeah, and I think the bigger thing is, Opo, look at the clock. It's the Frankfurt Galaxy offense had the ball for barely a minute. I think it's like maybe 52 seconds or whatever. So getting the ball back to the Munich Ravens in good field position just after they scored, rolled down the field, spreading the ball around. Yeah, it's exactly up to the perfect start for the Munich Ravens, and of course the imperfect start for the Frankfurt Galaxy.
So the Munich Ravens are in possession again. Run play over the outside using running back number 26, which is Benedikt Pola. who already had 2 touchdowns this season. Ravens are in general operating with 3 running backs: Justin Rodney, Justus Selig, and Benedikt Pola. Ravens coming out, trips to the left of the offense. Justus Selig is shifting out to the left as well. And Russell Tabor has to throw that one away because there was a lot of pressure coming.
Yeah, he decided pretty early to break the pocket, stepping up and then making himself a runner. Didn't really look to the left side where he had 4 receivers running a route. So basically just trying to create as many positive yards as early as you can. I mean, I'm not gonna fight that if you're as athletic as Russell Tabor is. But at the end of the day, the Frankfurt Galaxy were ready for that, had a player for him in the defense to spy him, racing him down, so the only option for him to avoid the sack was throwing it away.
3rd and 7 coming up. Got another timeout taken.
Timeout. Munich, they're first.
Timeout by the Munich Ravens. If we're looking at the defense of the Galaxy in general, a Coach Kösling defense, as we see Kendall Allison, is in general operating with 3 down defensive linemen and 4 linebacker, but they always show blitz, disguising the blitz. They're always having a lot of movement in their defense.
Yeah, which
There we have
is
Coach
a
Kösling.
which is a positive if you don't want to show your hand and make it tough for QB. But it can be negative if the offense, like the Munich Ravens, are ready for whatever. Like if they don't really care what you do before the snap, if they just like stay in their calls and play disciplined what you get after the snap. Because what often happens if the linebacker's at the line, disguising a blitz and then drops out to the zone, he sometimes is late, has a bad angle, and that's the time when offense can take advantage of that bad positioning.
11 personnel for the Ravens. Justus Selig, the running back, in protection of his quarterback Russell Tabor. Pass to the outside. That's to the inside, I wanted to say, to finding Luis Gaia.
Great job by Russell Tabor moving the pocket this time. We see him going out to the left, as he right before he faced pressure, and then working back to the middle in the scramble drills. Luis Gaia doing a great job here, working into the free zone, making himself available. Then, of course, catching the ball, getting the first down.
First and 10 at their own 43-yard line. Pass to Marvin Rutsch, who was something like the safety valve in this passing concept. Got a flag on the play.
Three times the charms.
Yep.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Yeah, let's take a look. Number 79, left tackle, clear holding Mulumba, working his way through with a great inside move. Had a clear pathway towards the quarterback, and then you can see the stretched out hands, filled with jersey. Sort of correct call right here. And really the first time that the Frankfurt Galaxy have a chance to kick the offense of the Munich Ravens off the field.
Russell Tabor throwing the ball over the middle, finding Malik Stanley.
Yeah, and man, this offense just has so many options to get the ball into that you sometimes forget that they have Malik Stanley, one of the most physical, probably the most physical American wide receiver we have in this league. And the one thing that is killing the Frankfurt Galaxy defense right now is that they force the ball into the right spots. They force the ball short into the flats where they accept the 4, 5, 6 yards, but they got to make the tackle. Those extra 7, 8 yards after the catch, are the reason why the Munich offense is moving so well.
Double twins, but a quick hit to the outside, trying to find Justus Selig, but that ball definitely touched the ground.
Yeah. You see, ball just slipped out right there, out of his hands. Probably because he had somewhat of a pressure, the defensive hand stopped, so he had to adjust how to throw the ball. Shouldn't happen, happens sometimes. Happens
And
to the
yeah,
best of them.
you used to be a quarterback, and a lot of people always say, well, these short passes. But these short passes are sometimes much harder to throw than the deep bomb, right? Because you have to put that much touch on the ball on these small distances. Nice completion to the outside.
Yeah, before we come to that, again, clear game plan here by the Ravens. Knowing where the hole in the Frankfurt Galaxy defense is when they come out and empty, always forcing it to the right side, always forcing it to those quick out routes where the DB has a deep zone, drops out, and then the linebacker has to recover, just isn't fast enough, and then it's just always a safe pitch to catch. But yeah, as you said, depends on who your receiver is. You know, if your receiver is Louis Gaia or Malik Stanley, the deep ball isn't as hard because they do most of the job. They just run towards the ball, catch the ball. Sometimes those short passes are a bit harder because you really have to throw it in stride. It can't be in the back. It can't be led too much. It really has to be in a perfect spot so the people can use the full speed and just like make as many yards as they can.
Next completion to number 7, Luis Gaia, who was with the Stuttgart Surge last year, was the MVP of the last ELF final, which the Stuttgart Surge won.
Yeah,
and without a doubt, one of the best European wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the case that's gonna be very tough to convince me that there's a more skilled European wide receiver than Luz. There are some that are just as good as him, but I truly believe there's very little people, if none, European receivers that are more talented than he is.
2nd and 4, Tabers going deep, finds his man, and that is Malik the Freak Stanley.
Just when I said it, when Malik Stanley is your receiver, those deep passes are sometimes not as hard as they might seem because he's just so big, he's just so great in working back to the ball that you can just throw it up there. And if he has a one-on-one, especially if it's like a European smaller safety, he usually will come down with the ball and he's going to make that big play. There we've seen the play they've set up through this entire first quarter, you know, having one guy in the flat, he pump fakes it to then just throw it up there, and then we see Malik Stanley in between the defenders, just goes up there, plays big ball, you know, like a basketball player who goes for the rebound, high points that ball, and gets it into the red zone.
Well, Malik Stanley is not the number 1 in the EFA when it comes to contested catches. That is definitely Nordic Storm's wide receiver, Brenton Bolio, where you can be 100% sure if you throw the ball in traffic, he is going to be the one who comes down with the ball. But Malik Stanley is not far away from a Brenton Bolio when it comes to contested catches.
I would also challenge that statement from you. I believe one play got called back in a game between the Nordic Storm and the Ravens, where he was just like running in front of 3 defenders of the Nordic Storm, who are no rookies and like no average European players, and he was just like making a catch I've barely seen players make even in the European level. So I'd say he's just as good as Brent Bolio, but interesting enough that in Europe, usually what we had over the last years was always those fast receivers, especially Americans, who were then great after the catch, you know, where you were trying to force feed them the ball 12 to 15 times and they were just going for the extra yardage, where you can see the Nordic Storm and the Munich Ravens went a different path. They get those big physical wide receivers where they don't throw the ball to them as often, but they're thrown to them in typical situations where you need them to be physical in the middle or in those jump balls where they now have a clear advantage the way they call their offenses.
Good news from injured player Finn Schwarzkopf. Galaxy player was able to get to the team zone walking by himself. Malik Stanley landed on him while catching the ball. 1st and goal for the Munich Ravens. Russell Tabor scanning, but incomplete. Trying to find Malik Stanley.
Yeah, Malik Stanley wanted a flag there for holding. Running a double route right there. And Russell Tabor was just looking at him the entire time. So it was clear that they wanted him in there. It wasn't a linebacker, by the way. It was Chambers. It wasn't close coverage. I think that's a good call. I wouldn't call the holding there as well. It's a good play to force the second out.
2nd and goal for the Ravens. One play. Good defensive work by the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, good defense of work, especially by Mark Anthony Orr, who gets to the tackle. But did you notice the push on the offensive line right there? Did you just see like how the entire line was moving backwards, how it was very tough for a Frankfurt Galaxy defender to get into the backfield? I strongly believe if they just lean on the running game a bit more, or if they want to, they could run the ball very dominant as well against this defense.
Ravens go empty, trips to the left, Twins on the right side. Motion over to the left is Marvin Rutsch. Russell Tabor has time. And now he's sacked for a massive loss.
Woohoo! What a great effort play by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense right there. Again, dropping 8 people into coverage, forcing Russell Tabor to go through all of his reads, who then buys some extra time. But look at the defense of the Frankfurt Galaxy, especially Mulumba, working towards him. And I said it in the preview, that's what they need today. They need to 100% effort, never giving up, and then forcing Russell Tabor to go down. And that's one of the reasons why, again, I'm a firm believer of just trying to run the ball first in the red zone instead of passing it, because there's so many things that could go wrong. And because the offensive line of the Ravens is so physical, because I believe they're able to run the ball inside, I believe that's one of the options they should lean into more, because there's just more bad things that can happen in those passing situations, especially when you're right in front of the end zone.
So the first quarter is in the books, 7-0. The Munich Ravens are in front after an impressive over 7.5-minute opening drive to this game. Frankfurt Galaxy offense didn't really come to terms. We do a little break and then we'll come back for the second quarter. Russell Tabor finds Malik Stanley. Touchdown Munich Ravens. There is the run into the Holy Land. Touchdown Tirol Raiders, Tim Tonko. We're back in Munich. Opening the second quarter is this field goal by the Munich Ravens that makes it a 10-0 lead for the home team in all white.
Yeah, but that was the first time that offense stumbled, right in front of the end zone. Going out with what I would call just somewhat of a controversial call or controversial game plan to go empty in the red zone, when I believe you can just run the ball and go for 2 downs at the end. But that's why it's so controversial, because on the other side you have the Frankfurt Galaxy defense, who's basically built to then defend your pass, dropping 8 into coverage, who are still able to create pressure with 3 players, just like Mulumba did there. Of course, Russell Tabor needs to throw it away, It doesn't matter at the end of the day because it just made it a longer field goal, which they still made.
Kickoff formed by the Munich Ravens. That goes to the outside. This means the Frankfurt Galaxy will have the ball at their own 40-yard line. Muscat is Dave the Rave, who is always fulfilling dreams for little kids in the stadium. Always good entertaining the people in the stadium of the Munich Ravens.
By the way, second bad kickoff by the Munich Ravens in today's game. Just giving the Frankfurt Galaxy too good of a field position right at the 40-yard line.
Ethan Garbers from the shotgun. Quick pass to the outside. Finds his tight end, Adria Botella Moreno.
Quick positive play. Coming out with an RPO, finding Botella Moreno in the flat. And then a good example of what the Frankfurt Galaxy defense isn't accomplishing today, what the Munich Ravens defense is. You want to force the ball to the flat, you want to force the quick pass and the short pass, but then you just got to be quick to the tackle and also being safe at the tackle to minimize the yards gained, so we have a 2nd and 8 here.
Again, the Galaxy is playing quick pass over the middle. Again, finding his tight end, number 87, Adria Botella Moreno, who really has a decent frame for a tight end. 6'6" tall and about 265 he weighs. So that's really definitely one of the best tight ends in Europe.
Yeah, quite of extreme, right?
1st and 10 for the Galaxy. Quick pass to the outside, but good defensive work here. Plus, the ball from Ethan Garbers was a little bit behind. There was not much to do for Tyler Foster. Couldn't really react.
Even if this ball is thrown in front, Nitzlander was perfectly reading it out, being very aggressive, shooting down to make the tackle.
Ethan Garbers buying himself some time, but now he decides to run himself, gets a couple.
Yeah, that's the reason why this guy just doesn't turn the ball over in the passing game, because just so good. And when the passing play gets crowded, if the coverage is too muddy for him, he just then be very good maneuvering the pocket, and then not only be safe with the football, but also creating positive plays.
Ethan Garbers is simply not taking any risks while passing the ball. He either throws the ball away or runs it himself if there's nothing open. 3rd and 7, empty backfield. Garbers going deep, and that's almost complete to Revan Easton, but good defensive work.
Yeah, and there we see a good example of good against good. The Frankfurt Galaxy go empty, force the blitz look by the Munich Ravens, and their game plan was basically Jacob Easton is on the right side. The Munich Ravens say our cornerback is better than yours. The Frankfurt Galaxy say we believe our receiver is better than yours, and we just see a good case of good on good. They throw the ball up, very tight coverage, very tough to catch. Ball bounces around, but at the end of the day, it's an incompletion.
Garbers directly under center. Tries to make the defense of the Ravens jump, but instead his new left guard, Thomas Leboucher, French guy that the Galaxy just signed over the waiver program of the EFA.
4th down.
Yeah, clear false start right there. And I mean, I said it before, Frankfurt Galaxy are trying to find smart ways to go for it on 4th down. I believe they should just adjust their play calling to it. So when they threw the deep ball on 3rd and 7, I think they should have just called a shorter play to get some extra yards and then just go for it. You know, plan with 4 downs instead of forcing yourself. Because I believe you just played yourself right into the situation I was talking about. I see the world that they want to go for it on fourth down. They want to be a bit more aggressive, but their game plan just isn't really fitting it, or their game plan just isn't fitting the idea of creating not third and shorts, because the reality just is they're going to have third mediums. But what they need to do is, from those third mediums, create fourth and shorts. Don't just go for the first down, or don't only go for the first down. Have an outlet for the short yardage and then go for on the fourth. I believe that's just going to create a way better situation for your offense and for your team to advance on those fourth downs, having longer drives, and win this game, because the situation here right now is just exactly what they wanted to avoid, and which could have been avoided as well.
Ravens are starting their drive on their own 8-yard line. But this is Mr. Justus Selig. Is he going all the way? He cuts to the inside, and then they finally get him, but almost all the way. Justus Selig, number 5. Not even 5'7" tall, but a little more than 100 kilos.
Yeah, that's that bowling ball, right? That's coming right through the alley. If it has a straight way, it's just going to take its way and create some big yardage. But great blocking. We see counterplay right here by the Munich Ravens offense, and this is just perfectly blocked. Very easy to run through. Even you and me open would have run for a first down, but we wouldn't have done what Justus Selig did right there. Getting through the alley, running away from Oshontre, the linebacker, but then just isn't fast enough to run away from all the defenders. Gets caught by, I believe it's Chambers, number 3, by the Frankfurt Galaxy, but they're inside the 10-yard line. Clay. But I've been saying it the entire time. They've been throwing the ball, and they wanted to throw the ball. They had a clear game plan, but I truly believe that they pretty much have the ability to run it as well and dominate over the run play, even though the box is loaded and it's crowded, because the execution and the players they have are just too good.
But I have to criticize your analysis a little bit. You would have probably found that gap. My times are over finding gaps like that.
I believe in you, one more. I think you would have one more run in you.
Yeah, one more, exactly. One more run, and then it would be over.
Hey, and that's the worst part, by the way.
I would need somebody to carry that oxygen right next to me so I can take a sip once in a while. First and goal for the Munich Ravens. Trying to extend their lead. Run over the middle up to the 5-yard line. And there's a little shuffling and discussing going on.
Yeah, but look at Malik Stanley just blocking his tail off there against veteran linebacker Sebastian Silva Gomez. We see him right here. Great work by the camera team catching that. I think Malik Stanley just there, with great effort. I think it's just good football until Sebastian flops at the end of the day and just trying to force it. I think it's just great football, great effort by both. Sebastian getting dominated there at the line of scrimmage. Malik Stanley with a great block. And I think we don't have the flopping at the end of the day. We just have a great football play.
Russell Tabor passing it to the outside. Touchdown, Munich Ravens, Luis Gaia. Easy pitch and catch for Russell Tabor and Luis Gaia here.
Yeah, this offense is just so good. Clay off the field, after the long run, walking off. And they just come out, they see the one-on-one. Luis Gaia with a return route, so he goes in first and then goes out again. You can also call it a pivot route or whatever. And then he's just wide open, completely uncovered. Russell Tabor finds him again. I think it was 5th or 6th catch already today for the new score of 17-0.
Extra point is right up the alley. New score, Munich Ravens 17, Frankfurt Galaxy 0. And talking about Luis Gaia, during the week he gave an interview, as we see his touchdown catch here again. He gave an interview saying that the Olympic Games in flag football are definitely a goal that he's aiming for, but this season he's solely concentrating on tackle football.
Yeah, and the flag football team should definitely entertain it. I think American football and tackle football still have the far superior athletes in there. And if Louis Geyer just trains his body down to flag football, because in football you got to be a little bit heavier, you got to take all those hits. So Louis probably is around 92, 93, 90 kilos. If he just then goes on a diet, goes down to like 85, 83 kilos, becomes a bit faster, that's just a type of athlete the German flag football scene doesn't see at all. And then it's just the same game, and then the same things he does great in football, you know, running routes, catching balls, high-pointing things. I would love to see it.
Absolutely correct, Jan. You need a little bit more shiftiness and quickness in your legs if you're playing flag football, because there is simply not this tackle, this collision part.
Yeah, I believe
that
you
is
just got to be
taken away.
lighter. I just believe you got to be lighter. You just got to lose 10 kilos and then you're good. I think for athletes like Louis, that's just a game plan right there. Just don't be 100 kilos.
Next drive, but strip sack, and the Ravens have the ball. And this might be, no, not quite, the next score for the Munich Ravens. Ethan Garber's losing the ball.
Yeah, I think you could even say, or must say, been stripped off the ball. I'm going to come back to what happened right here, but this is exactly what I was saying. You got to take the shots when you want to, not when you need to. They're down 17-0. Now they come out in the first play of the drive with a play action pass, with like a fake screen to the right side, and then the Munich Ravens defense with the lead in their back just can be more aggressive. Great play here by Mbala, who just goes for Ethan Garbers with the hit, and then Bindel doing a great job picking up that ball, almost fumbles it at the end of that play. Munich Ravens a bit lucky there, but this is what I was talking about. You got to be aggressive first. You got to come out aggressive in the first drives, because if you allow the Munich Ravens to just play out the game, if you let the game play out and you haven't taken your shots, you're going to take those shots eventually anyway. But the only difference is going to be the Munich Ravens going to feel way more comfortable. They're going to be in a way more comfortable situations. Coming back to what you said, just playing mistake-free football won't be enough. You got to come out aggressive, and the Munich Ravens, just took advantage of all the situations they had instead of the one situation right in front of the red zone, having the lead 17-0, already being at the 5-yard line.
But wasn't that beautiful? I always like it if those big guys are carrying the ball. Yeah. It's always a thing that I could see the whole day long.
Nothing sexier than a big guy with the football.
At the 5-yard line, Russell Tabor scrambling and then throwing it away. Again, good work from the defensive backfield of the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I get you comfortable. You're rolling. Russell Tabor is a great scrounding QB. You have so many options. I would just love for the Munich Ravens to come out and just run the ball once at the goal line, just to set a statement, just to prove to me that they can do it, just so I don't look like an idiot here in my chair, where it's very easy to comment and criticize people. But so they just prove to what I've been saying the entire time, that they're just very good in running the football, and their life would be much easier if they just decide on the 5-yard line to run it 3 times and getting it into the end zone.
But it would be less entertaining for the people in the stadium, probably. But now they do what you asked them to, and that is we're waiting for the officials. Whether this is a touchdown, it is not. They're saying Justus Selig did not break the line.
Yeah, no, he has some problems with the subs. He was disappointed with the call. I think they're just going to run it here again. Over him with the inside zone. Same play as they ran before.
As Jan Weinreich told them to, they're running it again with number 5, Justus Selig. But a good goal line stand for the Frankfurt Galaxy here.
Yeah, again.
So maybe you were not correct that they should run the ball when they are in the red zone.
Yeah, thank you.
But now the boss does it himself. Ethan Garbers with the next touchdown. That gives the Munich Ravens a big, huge lead here in the midst of the second quarter. A little of shuffling and discussing going on, but nothing serious. And one thing that stands out in the league, Stanley is always in the middle of that shuffling.
You know, Warner, man, he's a big physical dude who can block and blocks through the echo of the whistle, so that always gonna make defensive guys frustrated. But yeah, I'm happy they ran the ball. I think Justus was in with the first try, kind of proving what I was saying the entire time. They're just able, if they want to run it up the middle. No fancy football, just straight up, out physique the opposing defense. You know, then you have Justus, who's very, like, as I said, small and big and explosive. It's tough to get him down. I think he was in, but then, I know I'm over-critical here. If you're on the 1 yard line, just run the sneak. I mean, if you're running with your QB anyway, all this moving around, and then you take an extra, the ball is snapped 5 yards behind, then you take that extra second, then he's reading it out. Just go to the line, just go silent count or first count. You go, set up, you dive over the end zone, you take your head down, do that twice, and believe me, more often than on other plays, you're going to be happy with the QB in the end zone. But again, very easy from my chair to critique. At the end of the day, they scored anyway, making it 23-0.
Especially if you have 5 big guys in the offensive line like the Munich Ravens do have. A little bit more discussion going on within the officiating crew.
Yeah, I wonder who's that flight's going to be on. Because of all the pushing and shoving, it's usually the second guy. And then depending on what happened, you know, with all the frustration going on, and if they discuss for so long, there might even be an ejection.
So, Peter Parsons still discussing, now looking for the right button to tell us what they decided. And we do find out it's a exhausting job to be a white hat in a football game.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 9. The penalty is enforced on the try. Munich have elected a 2-point try.
Yeah, so it's just not sportsmanlike conduct, so...
By Russell Tabor.
By Russell Tabor. So, over-exaggerated.
Munich will go for 1 point.
Over-exaggerating his celebration. I don't know what he did, what he said, who he was standing up over, but there was a lot of discussion, a lot of players around. I think it was Sebastian Silva Gomez again in the mix. But then meaning that none of the Frankfurt players did anything exaggerating or whatever. And again, just, hey, it's football, 23-0, get on to the next play.
Well, Coach K, as they call him in Frankfurt, is not really amused about this. PAT coming up. And it's good. The Munich Ravens are leading 24-0 against the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, here we see the touchdown again. Let's see what happens after the snap. Will we? Russell Tabor goes in, and then there's some hitting, there's some shoving. I mean, up until now, it's all clean football. Chambers is going for the football. I mean, rightfully so. Yeah, I don't know what happens after that.
A little smack talking, probably.
Yeah, I honestly don't care. All fun and games. At the end of the day, tough competition as we want to see it. The refs know what happened through the flag, so I think nothing happened here. But scores 23-0. I mean, Munich Ravens on offense just been clinical about how they went with different types of offense, you know, spreading the ball around. Only took one deep shot, basically just, as I said, clinically spreading the ball around, working with a bunch of different formations, go more over the passing game as maybe my face wants to see it, but what do I know? And then getting you know,
Touchback,
in the last 5
35
plays,
yard line.
getting an explosive run in there, scoring right after. Then the Frankfurt Galaxy tried to throw a deep ball. They get sacked with the turnover, so we have a big mistake. Scores 23-0, and as I mentioned before, that's why I wanted to see the Frankfurt Galaxy coming out aggressive before having a game plan that's built to be aggressive in the beginning of the first 2 quarters, because now you're in desperation mode already. You got to go for all the 4th downs. You got to take those deep shots, or you have 0 chance of winning this game.
Galaxy trying it with the run game. Nice gain by number 26, Anthony Marvin Buembe. And the Galaxy have to get their offense rolling, because if there's one thing that we learned so far in the EFA, if you want to beat the Munich Ravens, you have to keep their offense off the field. Nice run. Gain of 11-12 yards, but they're shooting themselves in the leg right away. Full start. Yeah, right button, please.
False start, offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Yeah.
They called it on Brevin Easton. There was some movement within the line as well. Right tackle Justin Keaton was jumping also.
Yeah, let me be a bit more positive now, a bit open, okay? You're still in this game, 23 points, 3-position game. If you score in this drive, take some time off the clock. You stop the Munich Ravens offense, you score in the next drive. It's a 1-position game, and you get the ball back right after halftime. But this is so crucial to get points on the board.
Empty backfield for the Galaxy. Pass, but incomplete, trying to hit Brevin Easton.
Yeah, and here, I mean, Easton, we haven't called his name much because the Munich Ravens felt very comfortable just having Harris and him against the one-on-one. Rightfully so, Harris has been looking pretty good in that one-on-one matchup, which is kudos to him. Pretty tough to cover Jacob Easton over 4 quarters, even over an entire half. Again, good throw, good route, just better coverage, making it tough to catch that ball, forcing the second and 15.
Trips to the right, hand off. Another run game over Anthony Buembe again. Sorry, Jan.
No problem. I mean, Frankfurt Galaxy offense is going so fast and trying to rumble here. And there we see Kendall Ellis, the head coach and defensive play caller, pretty upset as well. You know, that's what happens when you go so fast, that the defense wants to sub guys in and out, and they can't, and then they have some miscommunication.
Munich, their second.
So they have to call their second timeout, just as called right here. But I think, very interestingly, the Frankfurt Galaxy is starting to run the ball over the right side, primarily in this drive, which I can accept if your game plan is to just play on all the 4 downs. So all those yards you get back when you have that offside at a false start and the incomplete pass is just so crucial to make it so much easier on yourself. But coming again, this needs to be the game plan. Usually on offense, you think in 3 plays. You think in, I want to get like 3 to 4 yards on the first down. I want to get like 3 to 4 on the second, or even convert for a first down. And then I want to have a 3rd and short and get the easy first down. And that's how you move the offense. And then sometimes you take your shots. The way the Frankfurt Galaxy need to think is in 4 downs. It doesn't matter. Just go. Get 2 or 3 yards at the first down. Get 2 or 3 yards at the second down. And then get 2 or 3 yards at the 3rd down. So you have a 4th and 1 or 2 to go. So it's easier for them to convert, to keep the offense of the Ravens off the field, and then eventually score. Because I don't believe the way this game is going that those 3 downs are going to be enough and that you're going to beat the Ravens. Crucial down here to get some of the yards back.
Now it's 3rd and 11.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Jan, you've been a quarterback yourself. How does this happen coming out of a timeout and you're having a delay of game?
Tough to answer, Oku. Only thing I can say, it's unacceptable by the whole offensive operation. You got to get the play call in, especially at the timeout. You know, there's sometimes a lot of discussion what we're going to do, but just get the play call in, make it easy on yourself, get to the line, take this extra time that you have with the timeout to sort yourself, but just an unacceptable penalty.
Empty backfield, Ethan Garbers goes deep, but perfectly defended.
on 3rd and 16, they take the deep shot. Ethan Garbers has enough time to go to his deep route, but then it's Könke against Straman at the one-on-one. We see a Garbers with the deep pass, and then Könke just with great concentration on the ball. Ball could have been thrown better, leading Straman to the outside a bit more to make it hard on Könke. But again, easy to save from Meicher. Great defensive play by the Munich Ravens. And now, again, we're in a situation where it just doesn't make sense to go for it. 4th and 16, just not a down you can convert. So the way they were building this drive up, I think it was going good, and they had a good idea of going for it on 4th down, but with the flag, it just killed their drive.
Good punt with a positive bounce, and Bijan Harris is getting nowhere. Only a little east-west running, no north and south. 8 minutes on the clock in the first half, 23-0 the league for the Frankfurt Galaxy, for the Munich Ravens, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And again, so tough to beat the Ravens. They play mistakenly, especially on defense as well. Very disciplined, not allowing any of the deep passes to come in, taking away the number one read of Ethan Garbers, Jacob Easton. Just having the superior players right there, the superior matchup, just executing pretty well, allowing Jimmy Ravens to just play out their game.
Run game for the Ravens. Benedikt Pola, the ball carrier.
Yeah, easy way to start the drive, having two backs in the backfield, running over the right side where they had two extra blockers, and then I believe it's just some form of outside zone with a lead blocker, and then seeing again the push, man, just 2, 3, 4 offensive linemen with their blockers just driving the defense lineman down the field, so it's easy for the running back to just follow up. It's just a 6-yard gain, because it was still a Frankfurt Galaxy player with great effort and good tackling, but it's still 6 safe yards that controls the clock and the yardage on the field.
Trips to the left of Russell Tabor. That's where he's aiming to go to, but he has to throw that one away. Too much traffic around him.
The one thing the Frankfurt Galaxy defense is doing a pretty good job in today is when the Ravens are not an empty, when they come out in 4 receiver sets with run back in the backfield, and then they have late motions to match those offenses, come out with an 8-man drop, so just a 3-man rush, and are able to take away the first and the second read of Tabor, who then goes out of the pocket, and then they do a great job in just running him down, making it tough for him to run by himself, always having a cleanup guy right there. It's a good job by the Galaxy defense in those situations.
Also Tabor out of the pocket, just standing in there and finding Marvin Rutsch.
Yeah, nice route combination there to get that first down. We have Stanley occupying some room in the middle there, occupying the linebacker who needs to come out, and right behind Marvin Rutsch appears. Ball is thrown into the back, but that's the perfect spot, because if you lead the right receiver, he's going to run into a linebacker with full speed that might cause an incompletion due to the hit. That's why you want to throw it in the back. Great spot, great timing here by Tabor.
Plus, it's not a very pleasant surrounding for a wideout to run into a linebacker.
No.
Justus Selig, again the ball carrier. Gain of about 3 to 4 yards.
Yeah, now they started to run the ball a bit more on first down. Maybe someone is here in my commentary and listening to my wishes. But you can clearly see how they are able to dominate on the first level. Even though this is just a small yardage gain, this is just so tough for the entire defense to all pursue towards the ball, break away from their blockers, and then at the end of the day make the tackle. I believe over 4 quarters the Munich Ravens are just going to out-physique you.
And 2 running backs. And again, he finds Marvin Rutsch, who is pretty familiar with that position in the offensive backfield because he started out playing football and used to be a running back, and then they made him a wide receiver.
Yeah, and very patiently, Russell Tabor is always going to find those guys in the flats, taking those easy pitches and catches. You could always almost call it like an extension of the run game if you have receivers like Rutsch who are so clean and so safe in catching the ball.
3rd and 3. Ravens want to go empty.
Timeout. Frankfurt, they're first.
So Coach Kösling takes the first timeout of the first half. And talking about Marvin Rutsch, he is back to normal, one could say. I have to admit, I'm a fan of Marvin Rutsch. From my point of view, one of the best, if not the best, slot receiver in the league. And last week, against the Tirol Raiders, he did not really perform the way one is used to see Marvin Rutsch playing. Had a couple of drops, had a fumble, something that you normally don't see from him. The man with the steel blue eyes, if you ever saw him in reality, that's one thing you would definitely not forget if Marvin Rutsch is standing in front of you. I've never seen eyes like that. It's unbelievable. So timeout is over. The Ravens are coming with quadruples to the right pass. Again, finding number 13, Marvin Rutsch, who is slow to get up.
Yeah, it must be something more serious if Marvin Rutsch is laying on the field. Just wish for the best.
Because he's a tough cookie. I mean,
yeah,
he can really take a hit.
Timeout on the field for an injured player.
But you see, he tries to get up, rolling around. You know, trying to get up and like, kind of like walking it off. They just play a quick screen right there. Again, like an extension of the run game. And then it's Chambers, man. It's such a tough hitter. Again, clean, tough football, flying in there, making hit in the tackle, and I think he hits him right at the hip. Whereas Marvin Rutsch was jumping for the first down, he had not much of body control, not much tension. All those hits when you don't have much tension in your body, especially when you have a great hitter like Chambers flying in, just hurt so much more. Marvin Rutsch just sacrificing a part of his body for the new first down of the Munich Ravens.
And so it is, 1st and 10 for the Munich Ravens at their own 41-yard line. And this is definitely a free play. I don't know why they whistled at that.
Maybe there was some touching involved.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 16. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So there was definitely some movement by Chris Mulumba. Finnish defensive end, Chris Mulumba. Empty backfield for the Munich Ravens. Trips to the left side. Russell Tabor scanning the field, pass to the outside. And there he is again, Marvin Rutsch back to normal. But is signaling now that he wants to get off the field, probably still heavily breathing after that Mason Chambers hit. Marvin Rutsch missed a lot of last season due to a broken hand. Quick pass to the outside. Ooh! What a hit against Konstantin Stricker, who had such a wonderful touchdown catch against the Raiders last week.
Yeah, but that's the first time the Frankfurt Galaxy defense has really been there. Chambers very physical against Dragan, the right receiver, just pushing him down, and then Streger just has one way to go to. Dominic reads that perfectly, makes the hit. And again, I understand, the Ravens evaluate their strength at the receiver position and want to get the ball into those guys' hands, but I just would love them to see to run the ball more inside, making it harder to defend the whole field.
Run play attempt by the Munich Ravens, we have to say, because Cruz Molumba was there right away and stopped Justus Selig.
Yeah, good job. Justus seems a bit disappointing there. I would love to see that play from the back again. If he would have like an easier crease from the inside, then he just broke it out, which is not the exact right thing to do, in an inside zone concept where you kind of want to hit it inside behind one of the butt cheeks of your guard or center. But first time, man, we have two havoc plays by the Frankfurt Galaxy defense, forcing one of the few third and longs in this game.
Little problems in handling the ball with Russell Tabor, but he has Justus Selig, his number 5, who turns it into a new first down, and we're heading into the 2-minute warning. Justus Selig, who deferred a couple of offers from U.S. colleges to stay in Germany and to study and become a doctor.
Yeah, and soon to be Dr.
2-minute warning.
Selig. That's one of the plays that just has been working great for them, getting 4 people to one side, 4 receivers, and then throwing the quick screen. Justus Selig finds the alley and the crease quick behind there. He's very explosive, very agile for the new first down. But the main reason why the Munich Ravens are so good in executing this play, of course, once it's designed well and the numbers fit. But the other thing that just makes it work so beautiful is the blocking right receivers, especially Stanley and Louis Geyer, just 2 tall, physical guys, almost like half tight ends, are just amazing in the way they block. Very physical, great effort as well, which then makes it a good football play.
The weekend of the 15th and 16th of August, you should mark in your calendar, because that is when the EFA Big 4 is being held in Frankfurt in the PSD Bank Arena, the home arena of the Frankfurt Galaxy. The top 4 teams of the EFA are battling it then in the half-finals and trying to decide who will head to the final, which is played in Austria, in Innsbruck. The beautiful Tivoli Stadium is the arena for the first final of the European Football Alliance.
And I'm looking forward. I mean, since I've been hearing about this weekend, it's such an innovative and great idea, creating something new that's unique to only Europe and makes it so much easier to book a full weekend in advance, to look forward to as well. And just, of course, competitive disadvantage for the team that won't have a home game. Basically, there's only going to be one team. But Munich Ravens know they can have that enjoyable weekend with all the fans, the fan clubs, the players, it's just a thing you can get excited for.
And one has to say, 2 teams already booked their ticket for the Big 4, which is the Munich Ravens and the Nordic Storm, since the Nordic Storm won yesterday in a dominant manner in Tirol against the Raiders. The Munich Ravens and the Nordic Storm are already in the Big 4 tournament. Play action fake. And Russell Tabor somehow avoids the pressure, gets the ball out, but yes, it is a catch by Malik Stanley.
Yeah, Chambers disappointed with the call, but the referee said he punched it out. Maybe we see them challenger, but here, we've been talking so much about all the players, systems, what you should do, what you shouldn't do in certain situations. But there you see why the Ravens are still unbeaten. Everything has been going so well for them, systematically. All the matchups have been there. Russell Tabor's been good from the pocket. They were able to run the ball. But the reason they're such a good football team is even if the play isn't there, right there, they can't take the shot. There's pressure in the backfield. Russell Tabor needs to avoid the pressure. They're just so good as well individually on the quarterback position to complete that pass for a new first down. And again, as so often as in today's game in the red zone.
The previous play is under further review.
So the officiating crew is looking at this situation again, whether Malik Stanley was still juggling the ball or did he have possession when he stepped out of sight. Mason Chambers was definitely proving his point that he thinks Malik Stanley did not have possession.
Yeah, I mean, the ball clearly moved at the end of the play. Just a matter of fact, like how many steps did Malik Stanley take? And if he performed a football move for the catch. So no discussion, this ball moved. Just a discussion if it's a fumble or an incompletion. That's not the look we need to see from the official review to see if it's a catch or not. You got to see the full process and how many steps he took right after the catch. Yeah, I can clarify what they really want to look at. I think you still got to figure out the right angle and the right scene.
Absolutely correct, Jan. It was definitely movement there, but the question is, did he have possession of the ball beforehand?
Yeah, let's get there. I think that's also not the right angle to take a look from. You gotta have to look from the back. I think you could perfectly see from there how many steps Malik Stanley took. And again, because it was ruled a catch, you need conclusive evidence, meaning the video and the pictures presented need to be conclusive, need to be, yeah. I'm not going to say.
But to be
100%.
honest, Jan, where is the big difference whether it was a completed pass and a fumble outside?
The big difference is the video I'm waiting for from the back view to see if Malik Stanley took 2 steps and performed a football move, meaning he made himself a runner that's a completed catch, or if during those second step the ball was punched out when he didn't have full control of the catch. If the refs saw the same videos we've seen, they can't overturn that call because there's just no conclusive evidence. I'm not sure if they have different videos, but if they have the same video material, you can't overturn it if it's called a catch on the field.
Whitehead Peter Parsons definitely still communicating, not with the Galaxy cheerleader, but with the video officials. This takes quite some time.
After review, the pass was completed in bounds. It was then fumbled forwards out of bounds. It will be first down at the 11-yard line.
So they did not overturn it. It was a complete pass, and then what we saw, the juggling of the ball, was a fumble out of bounds by Malik Stanley. So the play stands as called.
Rightfully so.
At the 11-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Munich Ravens, and this already smells like the next score for the home team. Luis Gaia having the ball, carrying it up to the 4 or 5-yard line, 4-yard line, but another flag on the play.
Yeah, by the ref right in the back, I could hear a loud holding from the sideline. So I'm just gonna assume there was a holding, and that's what he called.
Pass interference, offense, number 3. 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
So the call is not a holding. It's a pass interference offense against Malik Stanley, who was one of the blockers for Luis Gaia.
Yeah, I don't know how that's the right call. I mean, if the ball is behind the line or 1 yard in front of the line of scrimmage, you can't call the pass interference. And I think the ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. So I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't know what the refs saw there, but again, easy to say from my chair.
Ball to Justus Selig, but he is brought down right away by number 45, Simeon Gabriel.
Timeout, Frankfurt, their second.
Minute 40 still on the clock in the first half here at the Sportpark Unterhaching, right outside of the beautiful city of Munich. Munich known to, I think, all U.S. citizens for the Oktoberfest. But there's much more to find out about this wonderful city in Bavaria.
Sorry, Oppo, one thing we haven't talked about, because you were mentioning, rightfully so, Marvin Woods' path over the last years in Europe, but Clay is out. The American cornerback or defensive back from the Frankfurt Galaxy is out. I saw him again here on the sideline without a helmet, and he had some kind of ice and compression on his, I believe, right hamstring. So that's just a big move. That's like one of the second most important defender the Frankfurt Galaxy have, especially going up against the skill core of the Munich Ravens. So very, very tough if they really lost him for an entire game.
The Ravens, Russell Tabor. Haven't seen him running a lot, but passing, and he finds number 5, Justus Selig.
Yeah, Justus Selig is so good in like turning his body exactly when he catches the ball. So he has that burst, like he takes very little time. As soon as he catches the ball, you see that, like how the way he opens up his shoulders, that allows him to brace himself or to be ready for contact. And then he makes one guy miss, second guy miss, and he always gets that extra 2-3 yards. Underrated skill by a running back if he's able to turn up the field that quickly.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 to get to the end zone. Good protection for Russell Tabor, who's going deep in the direction of the end zone, but overthrows Malik Stanley.
Yeah. I mean, heads up to the Frankfurt Galaxy defense. That's the one thing that's been really, really working for them today. In like clear passing downs, dropping 8 into coverage, playing coverage back there, especially in the red zone. That's the second time or third time we see that today, where Russell Tabor then needs to scramble around, play a bit of hero ball, and then he just tries to throw the ball up in the back of the end zone where Stanley was somewhat open. But again, the reason why that play is created because of good coverage, then being able to rush 3 and still create pressure, and then always having a cleanup guy who chases down Tabor.
If you're leading 23-0, you can play the 4th down when you're in the red zone of your opponent.
Timeout, Munich, their 3rd and final.
So Kendra Ellison is burning his last time out, 44 seconds before the half. That is definitely not a problem. I'm mentioning that because in his first couple years as a head coach, Kendra Ellison was a little bit known to burn his timeouts very early in the game. He definitely improved if we're looking at that.
I think he burned 2 today again. I think he burned 1 on defense because he wasn't substituting correctly, and they burned 1 on offense in a crucial down. So he was kind of burning it again. It doesn't matter when you're up 23-0. Like, as long as your players perform and you perform with the downs where he took the timeouts, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what the analytics say. I'm just, at the end of the day, an idiot on a microphone in my comfortable chair. But I would say, if you ask me, that he was burning them again today. But again, he didn't need him anyway.
Marvin Rutsch, we saw him outside trying to run this Mason Chambers hit out of his body. Ooh! What a catch. Luis Gaia is saying he was inside, but the Zebras are denying the score.
Let us take a look. Oprah, I'm asking you right now, did you ever hear of the rule of cool?
No, actually not, but I definitely saw that the call was correct because they were definitely not both feet in bounds. College rules, it would have been a touchdown. NFL roots, what we're playing here in the EFA, it was definitely not a touchdown.
Yeah, and if the rule of cool would be a thing, you just call it as a touchdown because it looked so cool and was just like a great football play. You just go out there and say, you know what, it was close enough of a catch and cool enough to make it a rule. No, jokes aside, great coverage there by defensive back, by the Frankfurt Galaxy, making it tight. Throw was only where Lou's guy could get it, but again, game of inches.
And it was the first time the Galaxy defense held against the Munich Ravens offense. So with the clock counting down, we're about at 20 seconds to go in the second quarter. The Galaxy is having the ball again. The Galaxy is getting the ball starting the third quarter. We shouldn't forget that. Ethan Garbers is desperately trying to find some space. And this should be halftime. We saw a dominant Munich Ravens team in the first two quarters. 23-0 the lead. The Galaxy has to definitely improve their offense in the second half. We're taking a little break. I think Jan is grabbing another coffee. I'm getting a water. So we hear each other again for the start into the third quarter.
Yeah. You ready? Hey. Let's go. Back. I'm at my prime. I don't need your endorsement. I don't need reinforcement. Giving you your last warning, cause I'm at my prime. Yeah. I'm at my prime. Whoa. Yeah. You ready? Hey. Let's go. Back. Yo, once again I'm back around. Real shit back in style. Haters reconcile. I'm so black and proud. First class tickets now. Feet all in the eye. Everybody looking down. Everybody get red when you drown, huh? Look at me, up. I'm putting it down, you picking it up. Checking the models, they want us to go to college just so we can be stuck. Go to school to make a living, or teach yourself to make a fortune. Common sense, welcome to the apocalypse. Bitch, I'm one of the horsemen. I don't need your endorsement.
We're all set to start the second half at the Sportpark Unterhaching. The first half was something that did not go the way the guys in purple, the Frankfurt Galaxy, planned it, but they are having or receiving the opening kickoff. And they have to get along in their defense without their U.S. cornerback Jalen Clay, who injured himself in the first half.
Yeah, that's one of the big problems they face. The other big problem they face is they have 0 points and they're down 23 points, or in other words, 3 possessions. So if they want to make this a game, if they want to make this competitive again, we need some points soon by the Galaxy.
Yeah, Ethan Garbers has the problem that he does not have any protection when it comes to passing. Nice run here by Anthony Marvin Buembe. As soon as this pocket starts moving, it collapses right away. One can definitely say that the Galaxy is missing their right tackle, Stephen Nielsen, who is out for today's game. But that was a nice run to open the second half. Ethan Garbers with a quick hit to the outside, but a drop by his running back, by Anthony Marvin Buembe.
Yeah, and you perfectly pre-come to the the pocket collapses, Ethan Garbers maneuvers it. Munich Ravens doing a great job that they don't let him become a runner, because he's really good in then getting those cheap yardage. There he forces the ball into the flat to his running back. But as mentioned in the first half of the game, the Munich Ravens are so good, and then rushing to those passes, rushing to those spots, and making the hit, making it tough for them to create yardage, or even making the catch.
2nd and 10, but there is the next statement of the Ravens defense. Nice work there. No chance for the running back of the Galaxy to make any positive yardage.
Yeah, I believe that was the same play that the positive run on. This time, way better pursuit and execution by the Munich Ravens defense. And now after the incompletion, now the negative run, we have another 3rd and 11.
Empty backfield for the Galaxy. Ethan Garbers is facing a 3rd and 12. And now he's up and running himself. Gets a first down, but gets hit pretty hard. Slowly to get up, the quarterback of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, he takes instant pressure from the right side. And then when he becomes a runner, I was talking about the cheap yardage, but that's just an unnecessary hit in this situation, in this game. He takes it to his left arm, which is, and I gotta say it, fortunately, his non-throwing arm. He's back in the huddle again, but this hurt. I believe in this situation, knowing how important you are for the rest of the season for the Frankfurt Galaxy, you should just get down there, but understand the competition, understand the frustration he feels, why he doesn't want to go down.
Next run play by number 26, Anthony Marvin Buembe.
Yeah, and they've been now running it 3 times in this drive with basically the same run play over the left side. You know, having some success doing it, that just keeps the defense honest. Where the game plan of the Ravens clearly is to still diminish the big plays, keep Ethan Garbers in the pocket. You kind of accept the run game at this point, or you would feel comfortable with them running the ball because it's going to eat the clock, and usually doesn't create big plays.
Again, a big, huge run play by number 26, Anthony Marvin Buembe, is moving the ball in the right direction, the direction of the Ravens end zone.
I did say that, but of course you still got to execute the play. Great block in here, and great drive by the offensive line, who kept their legs moving, and then Buembe again finds a crease. So you accept the run play, but only if you make the line muddy and you make the tackle after 3 or 4 yards.
Again, Ethan Garbers running the ball, still being a little bit shaken up by that hit that he had to take about 3 plays ago.
Yeah, but slowly and surely moving the ball, one positive after another. They stay patient, which is the game plan clearly for the second half. You do just be patient, take what the defense gives you. So if they come out in lighter boxes with 2 high safeties, you just take the run game and you just hope that your line is moving their feet, creating some lanes, and that your running back is taking it.
2nd and 7 at the 18-yard line of the Munich Ravens. Run up the middle.
Yeah, I believe both teams are fine with what they just got there. You know, the Galaxy are fine with getting 3 or 4 more yards. The Munich Ravens are fine with not allowing the big play, letting the clock move, forcing the 3rd down. But as I said it before, this is a clear 4-down situation. So as the Frankfurt Galaxy, you can't just throw a quick pass here, you maybe throw a screen, or you just make Ethan Garbus a runner for like 2 or 3 more yards because you know you have the 4th down.
3rd and 4. Garbers goes for the end zone, has a man. That is Brevin Easton. Touchdown, Frankfurt Galaxy. They're closing their first real drive in this ball game with a score.
Or you throw to your number 1 right receiver, Jacob Easton, and what a display of strong hands. Going, I see it. It's not a catch. I mean, it's strong hands, but look, his left foot is in, but his
stepped
right
out
foot
of bounds. That's definitely not a touchdown.
Yeah.
That should come back.
Yeah, so Nitzlander forced that ball out of bounds. Yeah, he's got to call that back. Unfortunate for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Great play by Nitzlander there, making it tough. You know, ball was thrown right there where only Easton could get it, but he was fighting back towards that ball, pushing.
The previous play is under review.
So the officials are going to take a look at it again like we did in the slow motion, and there we saw definitely that Brevin Easton did not have both feet in bounds. Again, little explanation, in the EFA we're playing NFL rules, so the wide receiver has to have both feet in bounds, other than in NCAA rules where 1 foot in bounds is enough. But as I said that's the first real drive that the Frankfurt Galaxy is showing us in this ball game. And here we see definitely his foot out of bounds, the second one.
Yeah, I mean, Easton couldn't really focus on getting his leg in because he was pushed so much by Nitzlander. As I said, he was in close coverage and in close contention the entire time, which then, as soon as Easton was touching the ball, Nitzlander was just challenging for it, pushing Easton out of bounds, who was clearly trying to get his foot in, just couldn't. This is just good football, you know, like good one-on-one, good physical football, this time by an Austrian cornerback against the American right receiver. So we're going to see a 4th and 4.
And one has to hand it to number 2 of the Munich Ravens, Christoph Nitzenada, the Austrian, one of the best, without a doubt, one of the best European cornerbacks there are in the game. So again, the officials are still looking at those pictures. I'm actually kind of questioning myself why this is taking so long, because the first slow-mo was actually showing us pretty obviously that Brevin Easton did not have both feet in bounds. Let's listen to the official.
After review, the receiver's second foot came down on the sideline. It is therefore an incomplete pass. It will be 4th down at the 14.5-yard line.
And this means we are still waiting for the first score of the Frankfurt Galaxy in this ball game.
Yeah, 4th down. But you clearly go for this. I mean, there's no question in mind for Coach Kösling that he's going for that 4th down.
So now the chain crew has to reset again.
Yeah, for the Ravens, I'm interested in what they're going to call here, because the biggest problem, if they had a problem on offense in those downs, was to constantly contain Garbers. We saw it in this drive already, that if Ethan Garbers gets a crease and gets an open lane, he's very decisive and quick in making this decision and becoming a runner. So I'm interested in how aggressive the Munich Ravens are going to get here at this 4th and 4. If they're going to send extra guys to force the ball out of the hands of Garbers, who will probably then throw to Easton, who's at the bottom of the screen, or if they're going to drop out and find some kind of spy to force Garbers to scramble and clean him up.
Timeout. Munich, they're first.
So Kendra Allison has some topics to discuss with his defensive players.
Yeah, I mean, we had the conversation, you know, I mean, I get it, important down and all that, but we're just coming out of challenge. Like, you know, it's rather going to be 2-point or the 4th and 4. Again, I know you want to be very clear on what you do, and there's a reasonable explanation why you take this time out right here. But on the other side, there should be a process for you, the way you call plays, that you don't need to take timeouts in those situations, that you feel comfortable, that you don't waste them. But again, I don't think that timeouts are going to decide this game at all. This is just me complaining on a high level because I need to criticize the Munich Ravens on some part as well. It's very tough to criticize them on other things.
But you're right, they actually had enough time to discuss what is coming up. And what is coming up is 4th and 4 for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Trips to the left side of the offense. Garbers going into the end zone. Incomplete. Turnover and downs. Trying to find Norman Schum, but that is incomplete.
Great defense there. I think number 11 was it, by the Munich Ravens. I don't know if you saw it or who it was, but just very, very tight coverage again. Schum didn't even touch the ball. So Garbers is pressured, goes into the pressure. But yeah, it was number 11. Perfect defense there. One hand on the receiver. The other hand goes towards the ball. Great play call by Ellis. Great execution by his defense. And the 0
Devin Buckram with the perfect defensive play. The strong safety of the Munich Ravens. So turnover on downs, and that means Russell Tabor and his offense are in control again. Nice completion. Finding Louis Gaia.
Yeah, happy to see for Lewis, not only as a player, but he's a close friend of mine, that he gets more balls this game. Like he's been in the game plan more than he's been in the last weeks, but just proves like the way he is, like the way he handles himself, that he doesn't get frustrated, but he just goes out and executes, does whatever the team needs him to do. And again, flawless game, almost flawless game by the Munich Ravens offense.
And there he has the ball again in his hands. Aggressive, stiff arm by number 7, Louis Gaia there.
It means one or two things, what happened right there. The one thing is, Louis is just a strong dude who rips people's helmets off. The second thing is, Junior needs to work on his strap helmet game, that he doesn't really strap up his helmet. And I think it's the second thing. That's why the helmet gets popped off right there. Got to get that helmet straightened in, be secure. Or you just look right there, that loose guy stiff-armed you, you're on the ground with no helmet, and he gets the first down.
One has to say, number 7, Louis Gaia, for a whiteout, he is a pretty aggressive guy. And this is so far his drive, 3rd consecutive catch for number 7 for Louis Gaia.
Yeah, 3 plays, 3 targets in a row. Once it was a deeper pass, twice it was just him being in the RPO game plan, being the one receiver that runs the route. Tabor reads the defense, sees that too many people are occupied with the run game, and then Lewis just has a clear one-on-one and going again. With Clay being out, with that extra DB being out, there's just going to be more holes and more opportunities on the back end for the Munich Ravens to throw those dink-and-dunk plays. Here again, we see the box clearly loaded by the Galaxy.
1st and 10. Run play by the Ravens. And somehow they managed to make a gain of 4 to 5 yards on a play that looked like Justus Selig would be stopped for minus yardage. Limping off the field, the number 5 of the Munich Ravens. It's a hot and sunny day in Munich.
Yeah, seeing those two women in the stand, just a quick reminder, if you're out in the sun, use sunscreen, guys. I just got my first sunburn a week ago. It really sucks. Just letting all of you know. But yeah, unfortunately, just Selig lumping off the field. I must believe that Rodney is hurt today as well. So they're down to their 3rd running back, which could be one reason why they didn't run it as much, because they are just thin on the depth chart.
Nice swing pass to the outside, finding Benedikt Pola.
Yeah, different player, same result. Tabor finding his guy in the flat, who's wide open. You know, the Frankfurt Galaxy covering all the deep routes. Tabor's being very patient. He has some time, you know, looking for the defense, and then see how quick he turns his shoulders there and his eyes to then find Pola in the flat, and then there's just nobody aggressively going for the tackle or going for him. So he gets all those extra yardage, those sweet extra yardage that makes it a 3rd and short.
3rd and not even 1 yard to go for a new set of downs for the Munich Ravens. Quick pass to the outside. And this time it is number 1. It's Sixten Dragan, who used to play in Madrid last season for the Madrid Bravos together with Justus Selig.
Yeah, there's not much you can do as a Frankfurt Galaxy defense coordinator right now. Like, you load the box, that's exactly what you need to do so they don't run the ball on you. So it's harder for them to get those easy yardage. But Russell Taylor is just so good at identifying the box, telling Malik Stanley to stay in, forcing another guy to be occupied in the run game to then just throw the quick bubble, and then the Munich Ravens are just executing well. They don't drop any balls. They are very clean and physical on their blocks. Very great display of offensive football.
Again, deep ball, but good defense there by Rodian Henrique, the Dutch cornerback of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
It's the second time that Henrique and Lewis were in contention for a ball at the goal line. You see Lewis being very disappointed here with the coverage. I think Henrique's doing a great job of being like physical, getting his hands in there. There was a little pull, but I think he hit it so well and he was like so tight and so close in coverage that it was very tough for the referees to see. So I must say, good no call on this side because it's not clear and decisive. I don't like refs throwing the flags there, so great call and great play.
Again, Russell Tabor finding Sixten Dragan. Yeah, on that end zone thing, there was a little bit of tugging by the defensive back, but Luis Geyer also pushed a little bit. So, good decision. I'm going all the way with the decision of the referees in that situation.
Justus Selig back in the game as well. So, great job, Munich Ravens in this first drive, running the clock out and then also taking care that they don't force themselves into 3rd and long situations where they're going to be in uncomfortable situations passing the ball. They can always stay in their prime spot, picking what they really want to do, run the ball, throw quick passes, and converting down by down.
And as you have mentioned, Justus Selig is back in the game.
Yeah, and it's just demoralizing for a defense, like if the offense is just able to run the ball inside on you, getting those 5 and 6 yards, you kind of accept that because it's not an explosive. But then on the other side, if the offense is then throwing it 3 or 4 times to the flat, to the slants, and just moves the ball on you, and all you can do is run to the ball, perform with hustle, you're going to get tired, you're going to get demoralized. And I think that's exactly the thing we see right here, that the Munich Ravens can then take you apart, down by down, play by play.
Russell Tabor with the pass to the outside, but good defensive work by number 54, Dominique Mambo. And we should not forget, the Munich Ravens started this drive at their own 8-yard line. So
Yeah.
their first drive in the third quarter is like, the same picture as they have shown us with their opening drive in this ball game in the first quarter, where they had a 7-minute 30-second drive that they finished with a touchdown. Tabor with the pass to Luis Gaia. The ball is caught. The question is, did he catch it in the end zone or not? He is definitely signaling it was a touchdown.
Second touchdown from Luis today. Second time where they throw to him on some concept of an out route. Last time he turned in first, then he went out of simply just straight out, ran an out route to the front pylon. And you could see from the get-go that Russell Tabor had no intention of throwing the ball anywhere else than to Luis Gaia. He then made a contested catch, getting both feet inbounds. You know, little discussion by the referees if the ball was inside. There again, man, just the rule of cool. If it's a touchdown, if it's a touchdown, just let it stand. Great drive for Luis Gaia with, I think, 5 or 6 catches in this drive. 7 targets in total, and the new score of 29-0.
And they're going for 2 points, and they're doing it via a sneak, but not with quarterback Russell Tabor. Malik Stanley was the one taking the snap directly under center.
Yeah. You know, I'm a firm believer of running the sneak in short situations.
I think we noticed that today, Jan.
Yeah, I mean, always. But I'm also a firm believer of keeping things simple. It should be simple, and then making things more complicated if they need to be more complicated. I think on a QB sneak, I like the idea of getting Stanley in, the bigger body, you know, motioning him in and getting that little mismatch in that the defense doesn't know what's happening. I also wonder, that's what I'm saying, is I think he was in. I think he jumped over and they pushed him back there again. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just really enjoy teams calling QB sneaks within the 1 or 2 yard line, even though it's a 2-point conversion.
Well, Kendra Ellison does not like what he's hearing from the officials there. Has a red flag in his hand, but now puts it back in his pocket. Let's hear what the Whitehead has to tell us.
The previous play is under review.
So this is getting exhausting for the officials. Constantly they have to be jogging into this tent to look at it again. And this is something, Jan, where, well, it's nice that you can do an official review, but what do you want to see here? Because it's only a huge pile of people.
Yeah, what you want to see is clear evidence of the ball and Malik Stanley with the ball being over the line. And again, because the call on the field was that it wasn't over the line, you need decisive evidence. Meaning, all this rumbling and the big pile, if you assume, and you can only assume that Malik Stanley was over there, as we can here, and you can't give it, you need it to be decisive. You need to see the ball or his upper body or his hands be over the line of scrimmage. I think this view won't do any good. I think what we need is the view from the side, the original view we had. But I believe he was over the line. I just don't know if the video evidence is going to be enough to overrule it, which kind of explains the tough situation with those calls on the field. If you call it on the field as not good, you really need 100% or close to 100% evidence to overturn it by the rule book. But I think this might be enough, to be honest. I mean, just by pure physics and biology, I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor. I was actually pretty bad in school concerning that. but I think if I go with common sense, my 2 eyes tell me that his upper body with the ball must have been over the line.
So So the microphone is on. Peter Parsons, the Whitehead, is telling us what he saw.
After review, the ball carrier broke the plane of the goal line in possession of the ball and did not touch the ground. Therefore, the 2-point try is good.
So a successful 2-point conversion by the Munich Ravens following this touchdown by Luis Gaia. And then the 2-point conversion being run by Malik Stanley makes it an even more devastating score if you look at it from the perspective of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, and I mean, coming out, being close, very close in front of the end zone, basically just being an inch away from scoring, making this a 2-possession game to now being down 4 possessions, 31-0. It's just a tough break, but just speaks to the level of execution the Munich Ravens have been displaying for us here today, both on offense and on defense. Just being there when it meant most, creating those turnovers, creating the big plays. And then apart from one red zone trip where they were sacked and then only kicked the field goal, they were just, yeah, must say, close to perfect.
The biggest problem of the Frankfurt Galaxy is still their defense is working their beat off, but the offense is not getting anything done yet in this game against the defense of the Munich Ravens. Next attempt, next drive for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Run play by Anthony Marvin Buembe. Exactly attacking the same part of the defense like they did in their last drive.
And I mean, for the Galaxy, once you find something that's going for you in this situation, you're happy to take it and you just repeat it as long as it doesn't work. There's no reason for the Munich Ravens to be over-aggressive, to play the run or to even load the box. This is just going to create a situation where the Frankfurt Galaxy then are going to take a shot. I believe in this situation, both teams will just agree on the first and second down to give the easy yardage away, play sound football, and then force those third and longs.
Again, a run play by Anthony Marvin Buembe, new first down. The problem for the Frankfurt Galaxy is also they cannot try any trickery because there is simply not enough protection. A reverse would be stopped for minus yardage. A flea flicker wouldn't work because the running back would probably not even have the chance to pitch the ball back to the quarterback. They definitely have an offensive line problem in this matchup against the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, and on the other side, no one would be surprised now by any of those tricks.
Ooh. What a nice stop against Buembe here.
Yeah, great. I mean, lovely to see that the Frankfurt Galaxy are getting somewhat of a run game going to control some yardage. And Buembe is doing a great job of reading those gaps and then getting upfield. But he's one of those runners where you just see he's always a bit upwards with his shoulders, so it's great for him to get into the open field and develop some speed. But then if you face a safety, a big hit safety, like right there, you got to get your shoulders down. It's a great hit by the Munich Ravens defense.
Second down, run play, but he's not getting anywhere. I just received the message. There are 3,265 spectators at the Sportpark Unterhaching, which is, I have to say, quite a lot of people if you keep in the back of your mind that today in Munich it's more like whether to hit the beautiful Isar River to go a little swimming than to sit into a football stadium.
No, I disagree. There isn't a better thing than sitting. There isn't a better thing than sitting in a football stadium, no matter the weather. I'm telling you.
Definitely. But a lot of people do like it, and I can recommend that if you're in Munich. The river Isar is going right through the city. Beautiful sight.
Hey, shout out to Nitzlander, who's been matched up with Easton for quite some plays in this game and is always in close contention here in the scramble drill, reacting quick, getting to the ball, and then being right there getting his arm there. Easton asks for a flag there, says the contact was a bit early, might have been a bit early, but it wasn't too early, just speaking to the fact that Chris Nitzlander was right there when the ball was touched. Great play by him today, especially in the second half, coming up with 2 pass breakouts.
Punt by the Galaxy. The punt is out. And that's one thing we have to say. The punts are looking pretty nice from the Frankfurt Galaxy. Okay, one could add that they have a lot of practice in punting the ball today because their offense is not really getting anywhere.
During the kick, holding, return team number 4, half the distance to the goal from the end of the kick, first down.
So that will push the
47,
Ravens a little bit
47.
back for their next drive. But to be honest, it's not going to be that much of a problem for the Munich offense because what they've shown today is pure concentration. They know what they're doing, they're executing their plays, and they're moving the ball.
Yeah, and they're making it super tough for the Galaxy to take over this game, to be aggressive, because anytime the Galaxy were aggressive, they were just able to dump off the ball, throwing it to the flats, throwing it quick to their right receivers. Again, with the injury of Clay, it just becomes even tougher. And then if they want to just hand it off even into the loaded box, I just believe they have the physical mismatch there as well.
Yeah, you're right, Jan. Not a lot of deep passing by Russell Tabor today. Always a lot of short passing. So it's almost impossible for the pass rush of the Galaxy to get close to Russell Tabor.
Yeah, and then another thing is that it's just so lucrative for this offense to then always take the easy pass or the quick pass, because with the pass, which is usually has a depth of its target of like 3 to 5 yards, you get the 5 yards anyway. I didn't see any drop today as well, so kudos to that. You know, like it should be a given, but it's not always a given that you execute so well. But then the receivers are just so good in turning, going upfield, getting those extra 1 or 2 yards, which then is just a super comfortable spot for the Munich Ravens to operate from.
At their own 14-yard line, and this should be the end of the third quarter.
That is the end.
31-0. We're still waiting at the Sportpark Unterhaching to see the first points on the board by the Frankfurt Galaxy as we're heading into the fourth quarter.
Second down and long. He's got a man wide open, and his cut could be 6. He's to the 5. He's to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Musketeers. Touchdown, tight end. Adria Botello Moreno for 6.
We're ready and set to hit the fourth quarter in this matchup between the Munich Ravens and the Frankfurt Galaxy, and the Ravens are dominating the Frankfurt Galaxy in all phases of this game. We see the score 31-0 for the Munich Ravens. Second and 5 at their own 13. Russell Tabor throwing deep, but overthrows today his absolute favorite target, Luis Gaia.
Yes, and I think, they're prepared all week for a tough game, for a tough opponent. You can really see that today in the way they performed. So they were going to have some shot plays in there. And with all those short passes they threw and all those safe yardage, at some point you're just forcing the defense to come up front and play those shorter passes. So then they just want to come out and play their full playbook, Like, it's 31-0, the game's over already. It doesn't make a difference if it's 38-0, 45, no one cares. It's at the end of you lose, you lose. So you just go out there, you want to have fun, and want to play all the plays you have prepared over the week.
Next pass, next completion. And this time it's Philipp Okonkwo, the German tight end of the Munich Ravens.
And the Frankfurt Galaxy are building a case that this ball was incomplete. And I think they have a case.
They have a case.
Let us see. Yeah.
Naturally, Russell Tabor was trying to get the next play started, so the officials cannot take a closer look at this possible completion or incompletion. And again, Peter Parson has to run to the tent, I guess, because Coach Köstling, was throwing the red flag.
I would love to see that replay again. I think we will in a second, because Köstling threw that flag.
Frankfurt are challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch. The previous play.
And lots of work for the Zebras today, I'm gonna tell you. Hats off. I mean, he's been running some yardage from the field always to the screen, which is
definitely
far.
Peter Parsons is having himself a workout today.
Peter, I gotta tell you, man, though, I think he's perfect. I think all of the calls, I think he got the right calls in. Let us see this time. So clearly the ball was moving, and clearly if he doesn't get his left hand under the ball, this is an incompletion. So we see great job by Sebastian Silva-Gomez getting his hand in there late. Instead of going for it, he goes for the ball.
He's showing all his experience. Number 56, Sebastian Silva-Gomez. One of the nicest guys that is playing football in Europe. He's really a fun guy to be with. He has been in retirement, came back from retirement to play this season.
Yeah, as long as you don't play against him. He's it's not nice playing against him. I can tell you that.
That's the quarterback talking.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy to be around. Also having experience with 2 years with him, starting my podcast career or my media career with him together was super fun. I like all the talks and phone calls with him, but gotta be quite honest, playing against him, he's not the nicest guy. It's very tough son of a gun, man, and hard hitter, always puts in 100% effort, no matter the score. If they're up 31, if they're down 31, if it's a close game. Again, lots of fun going against him, but again, always tough game.
You can't ask anything more from a linebacker.
Nope. No, and that's what you want as a competitor as well, as an opponent. You don't want to be treated nicely. You don't want to be taken lightly. You just want to be giving your best. And even though Sebastian came out of retirement, definitely not in the shape he's been in 4, 5, 6 years ago, that's what you get from him. You always get his best, 100% effort. Looking for what they're going to call us, because from my review, I couldn't see
the
clearly.
receiver did not complete the process of a catch, therefore it is an incomplete pass. It will be 4th down and 5 at the 13-yard line. Please set the game clock to 14:51. Frankfurt is not charged a timeout and is awarded with a 3rd challenge.
At least Coach Köstling is winning this battle. He had a successful challenge.
Yeah, I mean, from what I could see, was the ball was moving so much. There was such a little chance, and the scenario I had in mind that would have made it a catch was so small. Oh! Oversnapped!
Bad snap, and there are the first points for the guys in purple. Safety for the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yeah, that makes it 31-2.
Well, at least...
Zero is gone. Zero is gone. But not because of the offense, because of bad special teams. Bad snap by the Munich Ravens punting team. I mean, it looks like he had both hands in there. It's one of the ones where you just kind of need the skills of your punter to come out and just like secure those iffy snaps. Can't get it down, slips out of his hands, bounces in the back of the end zone. Unfortunate for the Munich Ravens. And those are the things like I know they're going to talk about during the week. Like during the week when you're up, like all those things like special teams and some of the tackling, those details. You know, Coach Ellis and everybody will be in there telling themselves, hey, if this happens in a close game, we can have that. We can have bad snaps in those situations. We can have drops in those situations. We got to be better in all of situations because once we're going to get into those close games, this stuff just can't happen. So unfortunate, but maybe a mistake that needed to happen for them to be more clean and more detailed on those situations.
And a mistake which is absolutely understandable because the offense of the Munich Ravens is not used to punt the ball. Return. Tyler Foster, the ball carrier. Tyler Foster, son of the wide receiver coach of the Galaxy, Leroy Foster. Speedy wide out, Tyler Foster. About 5'10", 5'11", and that is 1st and 10 for the Galaxy. Brevin Easton on the end around, but only a gain of maybe 2 yards for number 81.
Very disciplined play here. Also in the fourth quarter by the defense, great pursuit. Eye discipline as well in the backfield by everybody on defensive backfield. So the defensive line and linebackers, they taught to read the line, not the backfield. They taught to read the line, and then the defensive backs should not read the line. They should read the receivers and everything that's coming from the other side. Great job here by the Munich Ravens.
Flush doubles for the Galaxy. Ethan Garbers from the shotgun. Pass, but that one didn't even get across the defensive line. Somebody had his hands in there.
It's not Garbers anymore. I think they subbed that quarterback out. I think it's on the 17 and now they have a German quarterback in the game. If you take a quick look, yes.
Yes, Konrad Schumann, you are right. It's always good if you have a color commentator with you.
Hey, 4 eyes are better than 2, right? I just noticed it because Ethan Garbers has the black sleeve on his right arm and Schumann has the white sleeve, so it was clear to see. So it's some experience for him.
So those are those little hints that Jan Weinreich is giving our spectators to differentiate the players. Pass from Konrad Schumann to number 5 to Paul Leonard.
Yeah, one of the few third downs they converted today. Late motion into empty formation. Schumann looks to the left, finds Paul Leonard in a short route, and one of the first times that one of the Frankfurt receivers caught a ball in like short yardage, a short ball or medium ball, and then got some extra yardage out of there. That's like basically the defense wants to force the ball into those areas, the offense wants to throw the ball into those areas. Both teams believe that their players are going to make a play. This time, Paul Leonard made the better play.
And off, nice run by Anthony Marvin Buembe. And Jan, I don't want to say it, but the first couple plays, the offense of the Galaxy is moving much better with Konrad Schumann at the moment than they did with Ethan Garbers before the
timeout.
3.5 quarters.
Munich, their second.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kudos to the players just executing on those plays. Schumann did a great job of finding Paul Lennart there on the short route. And, you know, maybe there's just a different place that Schumann feels comfortable with calling, basically being called in with, that just work better. I wouldn't say that Ethan Doubleton's offense wasn't working because he was just performing so well. But yeah, you're right. They're doing a great job since he's in. You know, he's been. You usually see he's not a rookie. He's not a guy who's in this league or playing football for only a year. You know, most of the German quarterbacks and those backups have been playing for almost over a decade most of the time. You know, Schumann is a very experienced guy in the area of Hessen. Had a close contact with him as well. He can throw a decent ball and definitely knows what a defense is throwing at him.
And this is something to know for all U.S. citizens that are watching the EFA. Most of the German or European players, they don't start playing football with the age of 5 or 6. It's almost a law in Germany that as a young boy you start playing soccer. Most of the players are starting with the age of, well, it's gotten a little younger within the last couple of years because there are a couple of good youth programs in Europe, but most of them are starting with the age of 13, 14, I would say.
Yeah, but with the new revolution of flag football, kids are starting to play way earlier, and this is going to help our game grow so much, not only by the numbers of people who are going to play, boys and girls, vice versa, but also with the quality.
2nd and 8, and a nice completion to Brevin Easton.
Yeah, great job by Schumann right here. You know, they're in an RPO version where he has a run through the middle, a bubble to the side, and then a slant route right over the middle. And he just times that ball perfectly. Very tough to cover, even under pressure. I mean, you can't barely throw the ball better. He takes that hit, stands firm in the pocket. But as I said again, to no one's surprise, is Schumann dialed in, knowing what the offense wants from him and knowing what the defense is going to throw at him.
Next run play. Carrier should be number 26, Anthony Marvin Borman. No, Gerald Amen got one of the first touches in this game as Ryan Rimler is still warming up for over 3 quarters now on the sideline, the place kicker of the Frankfurt Galaxy. Second and 8. Schumann from the gun. Little high snap. Then he takes the ball into his own hands, but nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think some mishandling on his side there, deciding again on the RPO to throw the ball himself. Or maybe he wanted to give the handoff and there was some miscue and like miscommunication.
Yeah, the timing was off right away because the
exactly.
shotgun was like in the second floor.
Yeah, the timing was off a bit, and then again, when you have to back up QB, there's just limited reps, limited comfortability with those two in this whole handoff operation. That this time Schumann does the right thing, just takes both steps and slides down. We get the
third and 9. Quick hitch to the outside. Paul Lennart again, the wide receiver that is catching the ball.
Yeah, there we have it again. The game plan. Galaxy throw a short pass in the screen. I think the Munich Ravens are completely fine with that, getting the ball thrown 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage and then just pursued towards the ball, getting a great angle in. And this time Paul Lennart doesn't break the tackle. This time the safety of the Munich Ravens makes the tackle. So I think it was a great display this time of showing how both game plans are basically the same. The difference is the players executing it. If the defense makes the tackle, the offense looks like the geniuses, and if the defense makes the tackle, the defense coordinator looks like the genius.
And now we see whether the warm-up of Ryan Rimler was successful from 45 yards out. He hits the field goal. These are the next 3 points for the Frankfurt Galaxy. New score, Munich Ravens 31, Frankfurt Galaxy 5. Without a doubt, one of the best place kickers in Europe. Ryan Rimler has a huge leg. To be honest, you can definitely even attempt a 55-yarder with this kind of kicker doing the field goal attempt.
which will be so important to have, like when you go into the playoffs, which the Frankfurt Galaxy are still in place number 3. Having a kicker, and we saw it yesterday in the game, Prague against Paris, is just so crucial, especially someone who can dial it in under pressure, even if the percentage is of 50 or 60%. Having a 50% chance on a 50-yard field goal will be so huge if you're in a close game right before the half, right at the end of the game. So getting Ryan Rimmler in here, getting him a very valuable snap and confidence boost for the rest of the season is just very important.
Yeah, the kickoff, the Prague Lions yesterday hit 3 field goals from 40, 43, and 50 yards, I think, which was essentially the reason why they had this overtime win against the Paris Musketeers, next to a perfect showing of Matiashvili, the whiteout of the Prague Lions. Kickoff is out, return, and this is Bijan Harris. Little more than 9.5 minutes to go in this ball game. It's a 31-5 lead for the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, let's see if the Munich Ravens also put in their backup quarterback to get him some reps. Yes. Also number 17, Adro Mendes, Russell Tabor's day is over. Did a great job today.
Yeah, Levin Adram showed really good skills when he played, I think, the whole fourth quarter last week against the Raiders Tirol. Ooh, tip ball. Leander Stratmann got his big arms up and deflected that ball.
Yeah, no fault on the quarterback side here. The left tackle just got to get more aggressive. If that's a run play or even a quick pass play, you just got to take one step at the defense lineman so he doesn't get his hands up. So Adram was just trying to get the ball to the flat real quick. Unfortunate for him that it was tipped.
Run by number 5. And not only is Justus Selig a great running back, I think this guy has batteries that are never going low. He is never seems to get tired.
Yeah, that's the problem on the D-line of the Frankfurt Galaxy. They don't really have a deep rotation on the defensive line. So even if there's starters out there, they usually played 3.5 quarters now in the heat against a tough offensive line. They hustle to every play. Like in the fourth quarter, it's just going to be way easier for them to run the ball because whether you sub out your first line or you get your backups in who are just not on the same level.
Adram with the pass to the outside. Delivers the ball to Benedikt Pola. And on the wide receiver positions, they already did some exchanges as well, the Munich Ravens. Sixten Dragan is in, Michael Stadler is in, number 84. So the starters are getting a little rest in the shade on the sideline.
Yeah, Yannick Novak as well, ex-teammate of mine, ex-quarterback as well. He's been going around from the north of Germany to the west now, found his way in the south. Happy to see him on the field as well.
Next run play by the Munich Ravens, and he is still on his feet.
Yeah, the Ravens just execute this counter play out of the 4 receiver set so well. The timing is just so right, and the running backs are hitting it perfectly. Right when the kickoff block is made or the lead block is made, they just hit it right behind the butt cheeks. And then Pola does a great job with making quick cuts, but always keep his legs moving, always keep his feet moving. And in the fourth quarter, when the defense players are getting more tired, it's harder to get more people to the tackle. It's harder to tackle opposing offensive players who always have an advantage, especially when you have 2 or 3 running backs and haven't been moving as much. Your legs are still kind of fresh. It's way easier to break those tackles for you as an offense player.
Ravens are knocking at the door again at the 14-yard line. Run play, and they have the next first down against, it was Benedikt Pola, the ball carrier. And one should not forget the backup quarterback of the Munich Ravens, Levin Adrum. He can also run the ball. He's not a speed star, but he's moving pretty good. Had a score against the Raiders Tirol, but here we see the next run, and that should be the next touchdown, and that's the case for the Munich Ravens.
Yeah, and proving my point kind of, in the fourth quarter, you just set the defense of the Frankfurt Galaxy up. They're tired, especially on the defensive line. With this three-man line, there's just so many double teams you got to play. It's just so physical and tough to keep that over all 4 quarters. And then once the Munich Ravens sub in, fresher legs, get some young, motivated players in, it's just a big disadvantage. And once you're down by 30 points in the fourth quarter, also you demoralize. It's tougher to keep in the hustle. It's tougher to run towards those snaps. So kudos to the backups and kudos to the second string players with the Munich Ravens, just putting in 100% effort and scoring on the first drive where they could showcase their talents.
Extra point is up, and extra point is good. It's a 38-5 score here at the Sportpark Unterhaching. And what we're seeing at the sideline of the Munich Ravens, naturally, if you have such a big if you have such a big lead in a game like they're having today, there's definitely a good mood on the sideline. But Kendall Allison formed a team where everybody is working together. They're all pulling the same strings. Here we see it again. Malik Stanley congratulating Benedict Pola, and behind we saw Kendall Allison, who can't stop smiling after the performance his team shows today.
Yeah, and that's what you need. I mean, the season is shorter than the seasons have been in the past, but it's a long season. Like, you kind of need everybody. You need everybody at practice. You need everybody to be great on scout. You need all the starters to be great. It doesn't matter. Everybody needs to give it a 100% if you want to achieve your best. So one thing is very important, that everybody comes in motivated and happy towards practice. So the atmosphere is great and it's just a great working environment. Then also the starters come out and play their best ball. And it's easier to play a best ball if you're prepared good in practice. And then once those starters played well as they did today, everybody's happy because everybody gets on the field. And then we see everything comes around. If everybody prepares well, everybody gives it 100% in practice, the product on the field, also for the second stringers, is just super positive. So happy to see everybody happy on the sidelines for the Munich Ravens.
And what I like about the Munich Ravens, if they throw in a second string guy, those second string guys always take advantage of the chances that they're having. Next pass attempt by Konrad Schumann, but incomplete.
Yeah, rotation on the defensive side as well now for the backups. I think the Frankfurt Galaxy also subbed out Jacob Easton as well. Tyler Foster seems to be hurt. Wish him all the best if it's not hurt too. But yeah, you see it right now. It's also the backups, receivers, and for the Frankfurt Galaxy. So both teams with the second string players now for the most part.
That snap, but still gets the handoff to number 20, which is Gerald Ameln. Little less than 6.5 minutes to play at the Sportpark Unterhaching. It would be a miracle if the Frankfurt Galaxy could turn this thing around. But we've seen a lot in football already. 3rd and 6. Not a first down. Yuri Sivas, the ball carrier. Next running back in for the Galaxy.
Schumann doing a good job here, identifying the man coverage, knowing where to go with the football. Again, the mismatch here is clearly the linebacker who has the furthest way towards his man player, which then is a running back. But Schmid does a good job of closing down the distance between him and the running back, and once he made the tackle, tackling him down, forcing the 4th down.
4th and 2. run, trying to drive the Ravens defenders into an offside. That did not work. Can you imagine with 83 Fahrenheit and you would be the mascot of the team like Dave the Rave? This must be so hot in this uniform.
It is, and it's already very hot in a football uniform, and you can see that the sidelines are not covered much with tents and anything, so you're kind of exposed to the heat and to the sun. But man, going into one of those mascot costumes just proves how willing they are to just do everything for the fan experience in the stadium, you know, make kids laugh, make people laugh, and I think even though it's hot,
it's simply not possible to drink as much as you're sweating out when you're in that mascot uniform. It's unbelievable. Galaxy punt is out, taken up by Bijan Harris, but he is getting nowhere today. I think the Galaxy special teams unit, they learned their lesson from the first time those two teams faced in Frankfurt. Actually,
yeah, I don't get why he's on.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't get why he's on the field. I got to be honest. I mean, he wants to return those balls, and he's in his coach's years of returning it. But that's one of those situations where you kind of just need to protect your players and get them out. You won the game, even when you score, it doesn't mean anything for the game, and you're so important. You're one of the most important players of this organization. It's very hard to impossible to really replace you 100%. So I believe you should have just taken a chance and someone out of the game to prevent injuries.
Again, Levin Odrum in. The Ravens are playing with their second string quarterback as well as the Frankfurt Galaxy. So Russell Tabors and Ethan Garber's workday is already over. Good decision by the coaches, because nothing is more important for your second string and your backup guys than game speed reps. That's the most important thing. You can practice your whole life. If you don't have game speed reps, you're not a complete football player. Again, Benedikt Pola. Who really showed a great development already in this season. Benedikt Pola really worked himself into this offensive backfield of the Munich Ravens.
I mean, just shows how deep that roster is of the Munich Ravens. I mean, a lot of their starting offensive line is still on the field. That's why it's easier to run the ball there. So great effort by Wertmann and everybody who's on there. But yeah, this roster is deep. And you feel very comfortable with all of your three running backs.
Next completion by Levin Odrum. Finding number 84, Michael Stadler.
As you said, game reps are so important for a young quarterback, especially in Europe. I mean, it's very tough to get those game reps, to get this experience in. Even though the pressure situation isn't like the game is 0-0 and you come on the field. But reads are just different, culture is different. Even seeing different faces that move a little different than the scouting team is just huge. And Androm is doing a very good job. You can see he's in clear control of the offense, clear control of the huddle, knowing where to go with the football. I mean, the reads are easy, but he's still doing a great job.
Hand off. And the run to the next first down for the Munich Ravens. Again, it's Benedikt Pola, who I think has his best game so far in his career. Never seen him with so many catches, so many touches, and so many really good runs.
Yeah, I believe he could be close to a 100-yard scrimmage game. I think with all the balls he caught today and the runs, he must be well over 50 yards receiving, running the ball, and then he had his 2 or 3 catches for 15, 20 yards. So I believe he has a good chance of getting close to 100 yards of scrimmage if he doesn't have him.
Well, Levin Odrum trying to connect to Yannick Novak, but incomplete.
Yeah, I think he could have been a bit more patient there on the read. there he had like a stick concept, so Novak was running a hitch route, a spot route, right at 5 yards, and then the guy next to him ran a 5-yard out route. And then you're kind of reading the guy in between, in the middle, and pre-snap it probably looked like Novak was wide open, so he focused on him and just didn't confirm completely that the out route was open probably. But again, this is why those reps are so important.
This time he connected with number 6, Yannick Novak. Hiswulahua, one of the fan favorites in the roster of the Munich Ravens, one of those guys who is always in a good mood. I've never seen Hiswulahua not smiling. Unbelievable, still entertaining the fans. Dave the Rave. Nice completion, and now I would definitely go with you that Benedikt Pola has more than a 100-yard game today.
Yeah, as a Munich Raven fan, coach, you can just really appreciate your running backs catching every pass. I mean, how many targets have we seen today to Zelig and Pola? And if Pola, we can talk about him as a 13 running back, at least 10 targets, and we had 10 catches. So it's just high execution on their side.
Well, trips bunch, close setup for the Ravens. Ooh, spinning his way through the defense. There he is again, number 26, Benedikt Pola.
Mentioning again, Benedikt Pola being able to break that first tackle inside the backfield. Otto's just basically flying in there, but Pola is so much bigger. You won't get him down with just like running into him or trying to make an arm tackle. And then once he gets going, finds the hole. Great blocking by the O-line still, and he's just gonna move his legs. Like once he has an interesting body type and good control, contact balance. I'm sorry, he has good control and contact balance. That once he gets going, he has such a good body and like such a physical body that he's going to break those 2-3 tackles extra. Where, as you said, he had his best game of the entire season, maybe even his entire career today, proving that he belongs on this field and that he's going to be one of those future players for the Munich Ravens.
Definitely, and we're in the middle of the 2-minute warning. So 2 more minutes to be played here at the Sportpark Unterhaching, where the fans can still say they're fans of an unbeaten team, the only unbeaten team in the European Football Alliance. The Munich Ravens pushing their record to 7-0. And the Frankfurt Galaxy, after they've been so proud not having a negative record anymore after last week, now they're back to having a negative record. 3 victories, 4 losses.
Yeah, that's how you see how close it can go. I mean, your record and how your record stands always depends on the schedule you're playing. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is getting one of those 4 valuable spots towards the playoffs. Definitely the Prague Lions helped them yesterday, feeling a bit more comfortable. But now what the Frankfurt Galaxy need to focus on is getting that next step and getting to the next level of not being a playoff team, but being a team that can contend for the championship. And after today's game, I think we have to honestly say that there are only 2 teams right now where we can truthfully say they are ready to compete for the championship. Those are the Nordic Storm and the Munich Ravens here today. Lots of work to do for the Galaxy.
Munich Ravens are facing here in this stadium another home game next week against the Prague Lions. Well, we see Levin Adram trying to scramble his way through the defense of the Galaxy. And the Frankfurt Galaxy, they are facing the Tirol Raiders, and they have a home game as well in the PSD Bank Arena, where on the 15th and 16th of August the Big Four tournament will take place. Make sure that you buy your tickets. Ticketmaster will help you out, especially for the Big Four and definitely for the final, which will be played at the Tivoli Stadium in Innsbruck at the end of August.
Yeah, they wanted to take one last shot. They want to get leaving some very, very useful experience for the future. You know, like let him go for one serious pass play where they wanted him to throw the ball deep. To now then, you see Wertmann, the center, showing we're going to take a knee. Just take a knee, let this game be closed out. Like a great game by the Munich Ravens. I mean, they played on defense, they played very physical and disciplined, never allowed any big plays, you know, straight through to the game plan. And then on the offensive side, I can only say the same thing. They took 2 shots in this game, both were incomplete. And apart from that, they just took the Frankfurt Galaxy defense apart with short passes to Luis Gaia, to Marvin Rutsch, to Stanley, to Selig. Then we're also able to run the ball pretty well and just were by far better team today and won this game.
And this is our color commentator, Jan Weinreich, analyzing what we just saw. I want to add that I was really impressed by the defensive work of the Munich Ravens. Ethan Garbers and the offense of the Frankfurt Galaxy did not have a chance to move the ball. Barely 3 quarters, not one decent good drive they put together. This is the end of the game. The Munich Ravens are having this easy win today, 38-5. This was it from me, Jörg Oku-Poklik, and from Jan Weinreich. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. You ready? Hey. Let's go. Back. Yo, once again I'm back around. Real shit back in style. Haters reconcile. I'm so black and proud. First class tickets now. Feet all in the aisle. Everybody looking down. Everybody get red when you brown, huh? Look at me, up. I'm putting it down, you picking it up. Checking the models, they want us to go to college just so we can be stuck. Go to school to make a living, or teach yourself to make a fortune. Apocalypse, bitch, I don't need your endorsement. I don't need reinforcement. Giving you your last warning, cause yeah. You ready? Hey. Let's go. Back. I'm at my prime. I don't need your endorsement. I don't need reinforcement. Giving you your last warning, cause I'm at my prime. Yeah. I'm at my